Live from the Cajun capital of the world.
I'm the average Lafayette, Louisiana kid.
See, I'm back on my...
Hey, fellas. Hey, Brady Review said, congratulations. Say what's up, y'all. Yeah!
People that have courage don't have no extra gene and no difference in you. The difference is, are you going to sit down when it's time to stand up?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another edition of Rage and Review. We got Cole, Lane, and Joshua here tonight. And this episode brought to you by Zestrol and Lepressor. The best blood pressure medication that we could find, courtesy of Rage and Review, because I think we all had a stroke. And now I think we're all deaf, so we'll have to look up some medication to help with your hearing as well. Boys, you know, we can't do anything freaking easy. We can't do it easy, man. We just can't. And CDS crept in early in the game when the freaking terrible SBC refs showed their ass, almost to the point where they were trying to prove something to us. If y'all didn't understand that, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Cole, I know you want to give a quick rundown of the game. You know, big plays that happen, things that happen, really game-changing times during the ball game tonight. In the end, Louisiana wins 34-30. That's all that matters. We're one win away from bowl eligibility. But I'll hand it over to you, Cole. Give us a rundown what happened tonight.
A really quick rundown. And guys, if you're familiar with the show, you know we do a pretty detailed breakdown of the game before we start turning it over to callers. But listen, it's Rage and Review after dark, so we got to get to the point with this one. Second drive of the game, you have the fumble by Lunch Winfield, scoop and score. Arkansas State goes up 10-0. You think, man, how can you dig yourself in any worse of a hole on the road at Arkansas State, who has been a really tall task for us, well, not last year, but historically, you know what I'm saying? And then you come out, and, you get them to muff a punt, which was the turning point of the entire game, if I'm being honest with you. I want to say before that we scored, but nonetheless, they had all the momentum before that muff punt. Then they muffed that punt. We grabbed the ball at, like the 30, 25-yard line, and we go down and score and take the lead. And you got the commentators from ESPN saying, well, the Cajuns, they just took the lead right there, but Arkansas State played the better game. Bullshit! Because of a scoop and score? Anyway, not the point. So the Cajuns go down. They play a really good overall offensive first half outside of the scoop and score in the first drive, if you're asking me. But we do, I think we were trailing at half 24-27. Am I correct in that regard? Okay, 24-27 at half. You come out at half, you force a 3-and-out against Arkansas State, who, towards the end of the first half had a pretty good offensive showing. It seemed like Jalen Rayner and Corey Rucker were on the same page, and they were just flying high. You force a 3-and-out, you punt the ball away, you go down and score. You take the lead. So you're feeling good. You turn the tide. But here's the deal, guys. What I like the most about the second half, and I know we're giving a very condensed version, is that it was very evident that Lunch Winfield was the best player on the football field, especially when he had the ball in his hands. It seemed like every time there was a drive to be extended or a play to be made, he made something with his feet. He made something with his arm, whether it was a 7-yard quick slant for a first down, whether it was rolling out and gaining 4 or 5 yards with his legs. It doesn't matter. He extended drives, and it felt like every time we had the ball in the second half, we ended with points. I don't care if it was in the end zone. I don't care if it is with a field goal. By the way, shout out to Tony freaking Sterner, who drilled 2 deep field goals, and he's going to go down as an unsung hero in this game. Sterner, way to show up, kid. Way to, solidify the position. Way to get 2 very clutch field goals, because obviously those points were very much needed in this ball game. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Fourth quarter, last drive of the game. What was it, boys? About 2 minutes left, 2:30 maybe. You got all 3 timeouts, 4th and 3.
This drove you nuts, man. I know it's coming.
Well, and I'm gonna talk about it because it's a hot topic. Now, let me preface this by saying, and I said this in the tailgate show on Planet Radio, I don't care if we win by 1. I don't care if we win by 21. At this point in the season, it's all about W's, and we got the W. But I would be remiss if I did not talk about it. It's 4th and 3. You're almost just outside of field goal range. You got the best player on the field, and they have not stopped your offense the entire second half. You got an entire defensive secondary that is suspended. You're relying on 2 freshmen in your defensive backfield. By the way, shout out to Brent Gordon Jr. for locking down Corey Rucker in the second half. What a hell of a job he did.
Change the whole football game.
Give the man some NIL. I don't care who it is. It might be us. I don't know. But that man needs some NIL. We need to keep his ass in Lafayette next season. Somebody listen. The Sharon Moss. Well, I don't want to go there. Okay, go ahead. Continue your story.
Brent Gordon, Cecilia High. Stand the hell up tonight, my people. Way to go, kid. But listen, bottom line on that particular play, Lunch Winfield was obviously the best player on the football field tonight. You had 3 yards to gain to put the game away. And listen, I'm an offensive guy. Josh, you might even agree with me here. I like ending games in the hands of my offense, especially when you have a defense that is so depleted in the secondary because of all the suspensions. Now, hindsight's 2020. The game ended how it ended. But you got Jalen Rayner and Corey Rucker and even 2 other wide receivers behind Rucker that are very capable of having an explosive play and scoring 7 and putting the ball game away. I just thought it was a very, and you're going to use more explicit words than I will, I just thought it was a very soft move to attempt about 5 or 6 hard counts. It sounded like Jameis Winston in the huddle saying, Jesus Christ, somebody jump. That's what it felt like. But you punt it away. Nathan Turney, good job, downing it within the 10. They got to go the length of the field with 2 minutes in the timeout. But I just, at the time being, I thought it was a very soft call. And, we won the game, so I'm not going to be too hard on it. But in the future, if we're ever in a situation again like that, please trust Lunch Winfield in your offense, which was explosive in the second half, to get you 3 yards against an Arkansas State defense that is reeling. By the way, Lunch Winfield, right before that play, had that massive 40-yard run, which was one of the best plays of the entire season. So why do you not trust him to get you another 3? Or Bill Davis, or Zylan Perry? Anyway.
I thought you said you weren't going to bitch about this.
I'm not. I'm just.
You're doing a good job of not bitching about it.
Please bitch about it, because you're absolutely justified.
Anyway,
the way that we handled the run game in the second half, everybody should be fired. I'm just being honest.
But let's get to the end. That way we can open it up to the round table, and I want to get these guys in here. I know they got a lot of fired up fans in these comments. So we punt. And like I said, Torney, great job getting it inside the 10. Awesome. They got to go the length of the field. And they do. So let's fast forward all the way down, because everybody who's watching watched the game. You get inside the, what was it? I think the game ended at the 3. And Butch Jones, for whatever reason, wanted to test to see what the Cajuns were going to come out in defensively. Turns out that I believe maybe Dez called the final timeout instead of Butch. Me and Nick talked about it before the show.
Which I still think was the dumbest. You have 19 seconds on the clock, and you let the clock run.
Correct.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, dude, you're right there at the goal line. You need as much time as you can get. Screw it, bro. Call a timeout. Give your guys a second chance. He screwed Butch Jones. Somebody else said it. He might be an Arkansas State fan, but that's the reason Butch Jones is coaching at Arkansas State and not Tennessee. And he may not be coaching at Arkansas State much longer.
And I didn't mean to rush you, but and we didn't even get to the meat and potatoes of what I'm about to say. You did not do anything remotely interested with option running all night long, and your final play of the ball game was to run an option?
That was so awful.
And listen, at the beginning of this season, I thought our offensive play calling was bad. To win the game at home against the Cajuns defense, that is, I'm not gonna lie, the front four tonight stopped the run pretty well, especially when it mattered. I'll say that. But your response was to run an option to win the game when you got Jalen Rayner, who is a 3-year starter, Corey Rucker, who leads the FBS in receiving yards. You were gashing us on any kind of drag play. Josh, you weren't here before the show. Me and Nick were in the in the pod pre-show. We said all you had to do was drag the tight end and you win the game. We did not cover a drag route all night long.
Cole.
But all Arkansas State wanted to do was go
anything up the middle. We were done.
About to say, if you're going to attack this run defense, the edge is not where you attack it.
No.
That's where we're actually decent. If you're going to do anything, it's in the interior. And that's why Butch Jones has no place in college football. He's not a good coach. Look, we can have this conversation when y'all are done, but that was a display of horrible coaching, and it wasn't just from the Arkansas State side of things.
Let me say one more thing, and then I'll turn it over to y'all. I just want to cap this. I do want to give Arkansas State some flowers because Jalen Rayner and Corey Rucker on any other team with any other complementary running attack, that would be a very dangerous ball club. And even if you would throw in an average defense into the mix, those are two very, very good players. And I'll be honest with you, they're, 5-6 now because of the loss? That is probably strictly because of Jalen Rayner and Corey Rucker. They are obviously the brunt of that offense. Now, any Arkansas State fans watching will say, well, we could say the same thing about Lunch Winfield. The problem about Lunch Winfield going into the season was he was quarterback number 3. Who missed that evaluation going into the season? Thank God that
apparently everybody on the staff.
Well, he can't learn the playbook. That's all we heard. It doesn't have a good grip on the playbook.
Lunch packages.
Thing. Shout out to the offensive line who got beat the hell up tonight, and y'all still found a way to get on the field as mismatched as y'all were at any position that they threw you in, and you held your own for Lunch and the running backs and even Sampson and Robertson and all the wide receivers. Like, they did just enough to allow the offense to get it done. I mean, guys, we get out of there with 34 points scored with offensive linemen that may have seen their first snap of the year tonight. I mean, tip of the cap to you guys. I can't say enough, but bottom line, it was very ugly, and I thought things got a little dicey late. Now I'm going to open it up to y'all. Here we go, boys.
Josh, I know you're chomping at the bit, but I gotta say a couple things. First of all, Sun Belt Conference officiating sucks. The beginning of the game was awful. That was I'm going to show you who's boss type of shit that they did, especially with the long touchdown run where they called the hold on us, and we actually got held. Sampson got freaking held by the defensive back. You want to talk about that real quick, Josh? I'll give me a second. I want to finish my thought. So
there's not much to say. It's a horrible call. It's a Sunbelt call. And how do we continue to find these bums off the street that put on a damn jersey and act like they know what the hell they're doing? One of the worst calls you will see this season. The hold on Sam. Absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. And by the way, that changed the entire direction of the game. And this was before the turnover on the punt.
There's more. At the end of the game, why aren't you blowing the freaking whistle? Now, I get he fumbled the ball, but was it 4th down on that play or was it 3rd down? It was 3rd down. Because on 4th down, you can't even advance the fumble, so it didn't matter at that point. But I will say, he fumbled the ball, picked it up, scrum. Like, at that point, somebody's got to blow a whistle. Oh, no, we're just going to let it play out.
Forward progress had been established. It's over.
Correct.
The game is over.
Done.
Blow the goddamn whistle. This shit is not difficult.
Right. Exactly. So that drove me insane.
Any other play besides the play to end the game right there, the whistle gets blown, that's turnover on downs. The only reason they let that shit go on is because it was 3 seconds left in the 4th quarter and the Arkansas State was the home team. Any other time, the whistle's blown.
But I'll agree with Fabes. It looked like he was down before he even fumbled it, but not even going to talk about that.
Totally
we won the game. We're done.
But Nick, what was the spread tonight? It was 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
And what was the final score? 34-30.
34-30.
Was there another college football game on tonight?
No,
there
sir.
was not.
Nope.
If y'all don't think that matters, you haven't been watching college football for the last 25 freaking years. I'm just telling you.
I mean, how many more articles have to come out of coaches now that are getting suspended because their players are betting on freaking games, and now NBA players are getting suspended because there's investigations now? Anyway, let's not talk about that. What I am going to talk about, you talked about unsung heroes, Cole. I want to say Andrew Martinez is the guy if I could give a game ball tonight, because when Fordham went down, I was like, oh shit. Center, and Andrew Martinez came out and he was a man. He was pushing people over. I gotta say, Andrew Martinez, thank you. You are the reason that we got the dub tonight. You're a big reason we got the dub tonight. I'm not gonna say you're the only reason. All right, I don't want to go out there, but I gotta say, man, without your solid play at center in replacement of Fordham, I don't think we get the dub tonight. So thank you. Amazing job. Hopefully Fordham comes back, but if he doesn't, I feel good going into ULM against with Martinez at center. Josh, I'll let you take over from here.
I totally agree with Martinez really stepping into a major, vital role and leading that offense for as long as he did. And there's a couple of guys on defense. I mean, we talked about the secondary who stepped up, and I said it in the post in the pregame in the midweek show, and we talked about the fact that Zell DeBose had already started a game, and Britt Gordon is not he's not a freshman starter anymore. He is a stalwart on this defense. We talked about the fact that Lake Bates had a couple of snaps that kind of got him into the mix of things. Look, I know he had a couple of tough moments, but man, he had some nice moments too. And you got to be able to shine a light on that too. So finally, I felt like this defense, especially defensive line, in the second half, really stepped up and made some plays in moments where you really needed them to. And on third downs and fourth downs, man, and money downs. Like, you got to give those guys credit for that. Young guys, old guys, guys that haven't, we started this season with a couple of names that we thought that should impact this defense, and they kind of been put on the back burner by other guys showing out. With the suspensions and with the injuries, they kind of got a retread opportunity, and I felt like they stood out when we needed it. Now, look, there is plenty to point out in this football game, and I'm sure we will. But I'm always going to defend the defense because that's kind of my side of things. And I'm just going to continue to say, without Brent Gordon Jr., we don't win this football game. We don't give up less than 50 in this football game. That guy made so many major defensive stops and supported his guys. And I mean, we're in a press man late down in the red zone when they had the football there. And I'm just telling you, he eliminated one side of the football field. I was only watching Brent down deep late inside of 1 minute. He eliminated that side of the football. Rayner would not even look to his side. This guy is 18 years old, guys. And maybe he doesn't stay, but just to say, the development that we've seen out of Brent Gordon Jr. and hopefully the development from the young corners that we get in this program, I mean, he is a case study. And he provided that extra leadership you needed out of that secondary role. And the guy's young. He's a baby. And he looks like a superstar on the field. And I talked about this with Josh Lewis on basketball. Good players make the field feel smaller. He did that tonight. He made the field feel more compact because he was doing such a great job, man on man. And when they went to his zone, he just eliminated the side of the field. So I really wanted to shout him out, man. He was the star tonight on defense as far as I'm concerned. Shout out to the linebackers who were everywhere when they needed to be. I know that there's so many moments, and I said it in the first half, there's so many moments that kind of tilted the game towards Arkansas State to be able to have them in the game at halftime where you felt like the Cajuns were running away with it. I just want to say that the linebackers played their role better than the stats will reflect tonight. And there's a couple of others, but man, this defense did not get lit up like the 30 points would suggest. So shout out to those guys. I mean, there's so many little small things we're going to get into, but I just felt like the defense played better than the 30 points they gave up tonight.
Gerald, tell us your thoughts. What's going on in your head, man?
A lot. It's crazy to think that I was in a Woody costume with a 2-6 record 3 weeks ago, and now I'm literally sitting here saying we're probably going to beat ULM to go to a bowl game.
It's the Dez effect. It's the Dez effect right there.
It's like it's almost like it makes you just like have emotions up and down, and just it's crazy, man. And like tonight was just a roller coaster. But look, to your point, Josh, you made some good points about the defense. This is the defense that had 3 suspended starters. This is the defense that we were worried of. Oh my gosh, like how are we going to be able to stop this high-powered offense? And I said last night, right? 31 points was the magic number. And sure enough, we only gave up 30. But look, the defense only gave up 16.
Gave up 16.
The offense scored one touchdown.
I did a disingenuous moment by saying that. 16 points. And they had their backs against the wall. Like it felt like every other drive. You know what I mean? So shout out to the goddamn defense. That's awesome what they accomplished tonight. They should be fired up. I can't wait to get the texts. I'm looking at my phone waiting to get the text from the guys. I know it's going to be sick. It's going to be awesome.
And now I'm gonna go back to the refs real quick. And you know, we were texting, we were flipping out. You know, there's only 2 times I've ever seen. The first time I ever saw a coach call a timeout. When a coach calls a timeout to basically chew out the refs, the refs are doing a crappy job. The first time I saw it was in 2011. The Saints played the Bears. And Sean Payton called a timeout, basically so A, the whole dome could boo the refs, and B, it was in the first quarter. He had to set the tone and tell them, this is unacceptable, get your act together. And tonight was the second time I've ever seen it where Dez had to call a timeout and waste a timeout to chew out the refs. I understand Sunbelt officiating is bad. I get it. It's been bad for as long as we can remember. But those first few drives where they're calling penalty after penalty after penalty, that needs to change. And I know I keep saying that. It's been going on forever, and it probably won't change, but that was unacceptable. To the point about the offense, look, how many times did our offensive linemen go down in the game? Probably at least 4 or 5 times. And every time it felt like they either, like you said, a Martinez would go in, or maybe a backer would go in, or you would have those guys who went down go back in a few plays later. And shout out to them. Let me tell you, they killed it. In the rushing attack. I thought their pass protection was okay based on some of the youth and some of the inexperience. But dude, Lunch Winfield, he's a magician. I'm wondering now if we're sitting here at 5-5 or 5-6. It makes me wonder if Lunch starts the beginning of the season. We might win the West if based on what we saw tonight. There's no way that Eastern Michigan game and that Rice game would have gone in those teams' favor if Lunch Winfield's in the game. Look at the number of times he extended drives tonight. He would have beat
Rice in the first quarter. He would have beat Rice by himself in the first quarter.
Unbelievable.
Can I add one thing, though? The amount of times he turned the football over or could have turned the football over in the first half could have killed us.
That is true.
So we did get fortunate by getting some of those fumbles back, and he's got to be a little bit more aware. His pocket presence has grown. It's not mature enough to, in my opinion, be like one of those elite type quarterbacks in a league. I think he's got a ways to go. So that's a conversation we can have later. I love to win. Winning's great.
Let's do it now. Let's get that out the way.
There's a point to that I want to respond to, Josh, on that. I think some of that, honestly, man, if you notice, there were some bootlegs that he ran to the right side. He was getting blindsided. I felt like some of that was inexperienced linemen. I felt like he was doing stuff in spite of the offensive line in some cases. Now, to your point about holding on to the football when you're going back to throw, you can't hold it loose.
You got to be mature with the possession of the football. Cole, you know
I
that,
agree
dude.
with that. I totally agree with that.
You're an old quarterback. You know you got to hold on to the football. Come on.
No, but what I'm saying is, I was going to say, if we're going to pile it on, let's do it now. That way we can sunshine pump him as the show goes on. I was going to say, there were a lot of shorter throws tonight that he just did not. It came out his hand bad.
It's been bad.
It was at the feet. There was a lot of very gimme throws that did not get made tonight. This was not one of his better passing games, but.
And how did we say we were going to win the game? You got to stay on the field. You got to stay on the field. And there was a stretch in this football game where we just refused to stay on the damn field. We couldn't hit shorties. We couldn't just convert 3rd and 4th down on like inside of 5 yards. That cannot continue. It's one of the reasons why we haven't won more games. But to your point about like you got to be a little bit more mature from the pocket as a quarterback. I felt like this game kind of exposed a little bit of those weaknesses. He's a sophomore. He's a true sophomore. I know what he's capable of. I know the skills. However, it's still fair to talk about that stuff. And I still, I'm kind of defending Dez here. I'm kind of looking at Dez going, I'm seeing this in practice where he can't hit a 5-yard crosser. And that happened tonight many times. Happened last week too. You got to be able to, that's got to be an automatic every single time. You got to be able to lay the football in front of your receiver there.
But you know what's frustrating? Those 5-yard crossers those weren't coverage
they weren't crisp.
If you, no, I'm saying there was nobody on Shelton Sampson as he's crossing. If you put it on him and it's completion, he's probably going to go for another 10
He's
or
running
15.
forever. Yep.
Yeah.
Because they didn't respect you. They didn't respect you.
It's one thing to make a bad throw if it's good coverage, and you got to put it in a certain spot for your receiver to make the catch and get those 5 yards. These were wide open 5-yard throws. So, yeah, and a great point about him being a sophomore. I hope he stays here as long as he wants, because the sky is the limit for Lunch, especially with the way that his legs carry this team already. And I don't know about y'all, and I don't know how y'all feel. The Cajuns, to me, is a run-first team historically. And you got a quarterback that can carry the load and get 100 yards on the ground by himself, and then he can develop his arm on top of that. Dude, you give me a year or two of Lunch, the sky's the freaking limit for that kid. But at the end of the day, he was not good passing the ball tonight. He just did enough athletically to get us this win.
And look, that's how special of an athlete he is.
Definitely.
He can win you games based on just his abilities and his legs. And shout out to Lindsay in the chat. She's saying that his upside is just so high. And I totally agree. Closing the gap in the camp, totally agree. But we're talking about specific to this game, right? And specific to last week. There are gaps that he's got to close. If he's going to be one of these elite quarterbacks in the league, in the group of 6, does he have the potential? Absolutely. Does he have the athletic ability? Absolutely. I would say that Lunch is probably one of the more athletic quarterbacks in the country. Not in the AAC, not in the Sun Belt, not in Coosa. Literally in the country. The tools that this guy possesses, elite. Look, he's got to refine the passing skills, and he's got to be able to diagnose who's open, when they're open. The ball's got to come out faster. It can't be 5 and 6 seconds later. And he does that.
That's been his biggest weakness. I mean, in the first 2 years, that's been his biggest criticism. He's not a crisp passer, right? When even Zion had some good touch, Lunch just wasn't he's not as crisp. Now, the thing I want to say is one of those fumbles where he rolled out, it was a play action bootleg. I'm going to get on the play calling for a second. You got, I think it was either Darrell Smith or Bill Davis just got 7 or 8 yards at 2nd and 2. We go right down the gap, the A gap on their defense.
Please get on the play calling, because in the second half was absolutely embarrassing.
But Josh, this was in the first quarter. This was in the first quarter. If you're gashing them for 8 yards and it's 2nd and 2, where in the world would anybody, when they're in the right mind, would come up with a play action bootleg to the right, to the strong side? Why are you running a play action bootleg on 2nd and 2? Why are you running play action at all on 2nd down and short yardage? That was that was the one I think Lunch fumbled it and picked it up and took 3 or 4 yards or whatever. But I'm just why do we call these fancy play action passes on short yardage, especially after you just gashed the front 7? We said the same thing against Southern Miss, remember? And they started going to the passing game. Why do we outsmart ourselves with that kind of stuff? Please, somebody educate me here.
There's no education. It's the smartest man in the room complex. It's all it is. I'm trying to get cuter than you, and that's it. It's all it is. It's all it is.
But why? Why? I mean, you if you're gashing a defensive line for 8 yards, do it again and keep doing it. I will give credit. To Arkansas State. They did it with Devin Spencer to us a few times. Their biggest Achilles heel was the red zone. Our red zone defense was flawless tonight. They hit us on underneath routes. They hit us on a lot of routes in the flat.
We gave it to them, though.
Exactly.
We gave them
That's right.
Routes.
But we gave it to them.
Tackling was shit, by the way.
Exactly. So my point is, they're giving us stuff with the run game. Why are we straying away from it? Right? That's where I get a little critical with the play calling, because when the defense gives you something, take it, man. And when you're strong point and you're a run first team and they're giving you 8 yards on 1st and 10, dude, you got to keep running the football until they stop you. And I felt like we didn't do enough of that tonight. I thought we tried to, like Dez said after the Southern Miss game, well, we got to pass the ball. No, you don't. You don't have to pass the ball. Not if you're getting 8 yards a carry. Not if Bill Davis is you got to get 5 guys to bring down Bill Davis.
You know, one thing I want to mention, and I'm gonna pull a Marshall here because they were in a similar situation against us. Arkansas State had 1 penalty on the night for 15 yards. We had 11 for 76. And I got to tell you, brother, some of those first penalties, again, it felt like the referees were trying to, we're going to show them. We're going to take control of the game. And ever since Dez absolutely lost his shit on the sideline, there wasn't much debatable penalties after that point.
You know what? Credit to Dez for lighting that dude up.
Thank you.
It's about time. It's about freaking time.
But wait, what I'm saying is a credit to Dez for lighting him up for the whole 40 seconds of the play clock, excuse me. And yeah, you caught that.
Institute that at my house.
Yeah.
Paycock.
But what I'm getting at for real is that the whole 40 seconds of the play clock, he lit him up and did not draw a personal foul.
He called a timeout just to bitch him out.
But most coaches would MF you SC, you know, they would cuss you till you blue in the face, and here comes 15 yards and you burn your team. He was able to get his point across in those 40 seconds, literally like this, and just call a timeout. Let's fucking regroup and get after it.
You know what's crazy about that?
He pulled a Robe in that situation because, man, Robe could cuss you out. You wished Robe would cuss you out because when he cut those words, the way he would deliver the message, it cut through you like freaking like glass. You wish you got cursed out because if you got cussed out, you'd be like, all right, he's just pissed off. I think that's what Dez did tonight.
You know what's ironic, though? Dez had to pull aside the officiating crew in the game against Arkansas State last year and do the same thing for a kickoff. He had to pull, and I know it's not the same crew, but I just find it funny when we play Arkansas State, the officiating decides to take the night off. What's also funny is, real quick.
Oh, no. They didn't take the night off. They worked overtime.
Well,
they worked overtime.
Right. That's fair. So when
he called, like, if you watch the first half, the shit that was called,
dude.
Not only is it embarrassing, it is blatant bullshit. Bullshit.
When this happened, I have it written down. This was about 6 or 7 minutes to go in the first quarter when he called the timeout to chew the refs out. 5 penalties up until that point to where he called the timeout and said, this is ridiculous. So if we had 11 penalties, so you mean to tell me you had 5 penalties in the first 8 minutes of the game to where he chews you out, and for the rest of the game you had 6 for the next 3.5 quarters? I just find that kind of ironic. It's kind of funny how that works.
All you gotta do is pull out your phone, look at the spread, and go, oh, I get it. I see what's happening here. Hey, it's all you gotta do.
Makes sense.
Y'all keep laughing at me, but
I'm not.
It's ironic, but it is ironic.
This shit is not explainable, and it's very easily explainable when you start looking at the spreads and you start looking at player props and you start looking at the over-unders and you start looking at the first halves.
Money is made in G6 football, excuse me. It ain't
nobody
the
pays
P4s.
attention.
It ain't the P4s. Money is made in G6 football. Josh is 100% right.
I just find it crazy.
I've been making money off of this league for years. And that was before they had a phone app for it, by the way.
I find it ironic that with all the penalties and everything that happened tonight with the suspensions, we only get, and I know you've probably said it earlier, but we only gave up 1 touchdown. That is unbelievable. I still can't get over that. That's unreal.
Let's mention a couple of things we haven't talked about tonight. The lunch handshake with the officer on the sideline. Bro, that was so funny. That guy was so excited. And he was trying to hold it. You could tell that he was texting his friend. Somebody saw him. He was kind of texting back. I mean, that's a total 180 from the asshole at A&M who wanted to, run over players. Lunch totally changed that, and he's probably going to make Sports Center just for that. So that was pretty awesome. Second thing I want to mention before we go to you, Josh, because I know we got some. I'm sure Terry is just he's probably chomping at the bit to get in, but I do want to share this real quick. This clip is the epitome of the Butch Davis era in Arkansas State. Yeah, this right here. This is Butch Davis. This
Look
is
at
how
this ugly bastard. You sloppy mother.
How much Botox you think this guy had?
I want to try to read his. Let's try to read his lips. What's he say?
Good luck.
Oh, that was terrible, ref. You're such a meanie.
That was nothing.
I love penis. That's what he said.
Look at the wait, go back to the face. Go back to the face.
It's just
please pause it on the
man.
face where he's like looking like yeah.
I mean, we could pause it like in so many places here.
How
like,
is this
where do you want to, you know?
in college football?
Oh my God!
This guy was the head coach
at
at Tennessee.
Like,
It's a mind blow, dude. It's a mind blow. Guy has no idea what the hell what he's doing.
Well, that was obvious with the lack of timeouts. I mean, I'm glad. I think Dave texted me after the game. He's like, "Is he gonna take that timeout and use it somewhere for drinks after the game? Like what?" Anyway,
where was this argument about an inadvertent whistle? Did you guys hear a whistle? I didn't hear no whistle.
I didn't hear anything, and it doesn't matter.
Did they make this up? I mean, I don't know.
they did have a whistle.
Let me ask you one thing, and I should know this.
I didn't hear it.
Did he call the offensive plays? Is it him?
No, I don't think it's him.
I was about to say maybe he's cussing out whoever calls the play. You ran an option. I'm gonna keep going.
Butch Davis is a Temu brand. Leslie Nielsen.
If I'm a taxpayer in Arkansas, he's not allowed in the stadium. Like we've gone past the Butch Davis era.
He can go sit in the waterfall, but I'm done.
Boy.
Josh,
anyway.
what we got? What we looking like on the Twitter Spaces? Anybody wanting to chime in tonight?
I got the originals and the regulars. Terry. Oh, Terry Johnson. Terry, give me 2 minutes of unfettered, unfiltered, absolute good takes so I can move on to the other four that want to speak. But I kind of already know what you're going to say. I feel like that. I think I'd make more money betting on what Terry might say than I would on a game.
Hey, if you got a bingo card, you know I'm going to mention the commercial.
Let's go with it.
I was about to say that, so good job, bud.
So yeah, can't keep stepping on our own dicks. Can't make a new commercial. Get a damn iPhone and make a new damn commercial. O-line. Look, man, the O-line I think played great running game.
Thank you.
But
I thought so too.
But we just keep and look, man. I know we've been banged up, and I love Jacks. You can't open up your hips on a pass rush. You cannot, like, he got bench pressed and fell on the lunch on the sack. And, the tough guy, Lunch is a tough guy. He can take a hit. But you cannot open up your hips. Keep your shoulders square. And no lie, like, Arkansas State D-line was teeing off, man. Like, the first two drives, we're in our own way because, like Jerry mentioned earlier, you get 8 yards on first down, you try to throw it. Do a quick pass. Do a screen. Do a jet sweep. Do something to get things on the perimeter to widen the defense. They were just teeing off. They didn't respect it at all. Like
the Corey Rucker.
Look at what they did with Corey Rucker. The pass. They still don't.
Corey Rucker got one for 30 yards on just a regular screen. I mean,
yeah, it is. We threw 2 screens today. I think 2, maybe 1.
Hey T,
running back on Texas.
Hey T, you remember when they tried to tell us that Lunch had an oblique tear? Remember that?
Yeah.
Does anybody still believe that? Does anybody that watches this football team play believe that Lunch has a torn oblique? If you believe that, see me after the show.
I mean, Josh, the way he was running like Mike Allstott, running people over. I mean, maybe he was holding his chest.
I think I have a torn oblique after watching that. Yeah, maybe it's me.
The way he's bowling over people.
It's asinine, but the positives I'll say, bro, is like Thursday night football, Sunday football. I love it. I want to play Arkansas State every Thursday in the Sun Belt every year because it's always entertaining. It is. It's just I love beating them on Thursdays in front of everybody. Probably 100 households in the world are watching, but I love it. Matt Berry, and I also say this, Louis Riddick, who also does some G5 football on the weekend. They're the best, unbiased commentators for G5 football. They have energy. It is they are I love that. I hope that SportsCenter comes to Lafayette on Thursday night next year because I feel like they just bring a good energy to G5 football. I actually do enjoy it.
And they give an extra importance to the game, right?
And you can't pronounce Desormeau's name right. But you know what?
Can we go back to that tweet that you just showed that about setting me off?
I did that.
Give me 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick. Read it. I mean,
so Louisiana Cajun said, "Why did we just not go for it on fourth down in the game under your control. And that's what you were talking about, right? Cole was like, hey, why did we just go for it? Get that. Another a podcast in Lafayette that's not a Cajuns podcast, but call themselves Cajun Sports Talk, says, I agree with the call to punt. Knowing how fourth downs have been this season, I wouldn't risk giving up great field position on a down we've struggled to convert in all season.
Oh my God.
They couldn't stop the run, bro. They could not stop the run.
Get out of here. You're done. It's over.
Great field position, but the ball was at the inside the 35-yard line. If you don't get it, you still have all 3 timeouts. Like,
you absolutely do not
the
know ball if you don't understand field position.
Well, but hold on. I can make
Corey
the
Rucker
argument.
made up that play. He made up that yardage on that 20-yard screen. Corey Rucker made that up in like 4 seconds.
That's it.
But
Yeah, that's what Bryce just said. We gave it up after one play.
I'm gonna say
So,
one more thing.
great.
You can make the argument that you could have let Tony Sterner kick it with how well he kicked tonight. He was just outside, maybe 3 yards outside of his range. It would have been a 55-yarder, maybe 54-yarder. But like the last thing that I was thinking in that situation, I was like, okay, number one, I would have probably gone for it on 4th and 3 because I have lunch. I have Zalin Perry. I have Bill Davis. Number 2,
In the game on offense.
and you would end the game on offense because at the time they have 1 timeout left. Okay, number 2, let Sterner kick it. Sterner kicks the field goal, the game's over. Number 3, I'm not thinking you're going to line up and freaking fake 55 hard counts and then punt it away. That's the last of my options. Even ESPN Analytics was saying go for it. Like,
Dude,
even
but-
ESPN saying go for it.
So I'm gonna redeem myself from the JMU before halftime call, okay? And y'all are gonna be proud
Here
of
we
me
go.
for saying this. Here we go.
He's back, baby.
You gotta go for it because the season's on the line. This isn't week 2 or week 3 where you can get away with that. The season's on the line. Like, we lose this
And you
game,
got nothing else to
your
play for.
season is done. You
got
don't go to a
nothing to
bowl
play
game.
for.
We're playing for a bowl game. The hell with it. And you're running on them. Lunch. I would have been okay. Maybe I'm crazy for saying this. I would have been fine with Lunch running a quarterback keeper. Try it. I would have been cool with it.
We literally ended Texas State last week because we ran it and we went for it. Like, what are we doing?
He did the same thing last week against Texas State on 4th and 2, and that iced the game. You're right.
Terry, you trust in the offensive line, and I understand that there's a little bit of musical chairs going on, but do you trust Lunch and the offensive line and your 2 best players, who just so happen to be running backs, to get that first down? Or do you trust putting your freaking defense back on the field, who have massive defections, who have suspensions, young guys in the backfield? I'm trying to win the goddamn game on offense. That's that's where I trust the guys.
And the funniest thing about it is, since Dez has been the coach here, he has gone for it on like asinine, time.
Yes.
Times I can't even.
It makes no sense.
It is such a head scratcher. And to make matters worse,
Play to win the game.
and to
Bottom
make
line.
Thank you, Coach.
matters worse,
Thank you, Coach.
the doggone Arkansas State offense is notorious for their 2-minute drill. Notorious.
fastest offense in the world.
You played right into their hands. That's why the game ended at the 2-yard line. They
Hey,
marched
guys.
90 yards down the field.
Last one. Scared money don't make money. Is that not what we've been taught?
Let's go.
Scared money don't make money. That was scared money right there. Luckily, we made a little bit back, but that was
Hey.
scared money.
Terry, I gotta ask you, dude. Now I know you hate Arkansas State with a passion. Give me Terry's living room in the final 5 seconds when they had the ball on the 2-yard line. Talk to us. No, final 6 seconds. What's going through Terry's mind?
The final 6 seconds, I'm thinking they're gonna make it, and I'm like, that's what I. They marched all the way down the field to the 2-yard line, and then, like y'all said, they did that option play. I'm not gonna lie, I don't dislike that option play because they didn't do it all game. I didn't expect it,
Agree.
and so I actually like that option play. But like the fact that they bowed up and like our defense bowed up and got it, like my heart just like I didn't scream anything because my daughter's asleep. I don't want to wake her up. My wife already told me I'm already in the doghouse anyway, so I couldn't wake her up. But I was like, very calm in my reaction, and I immediately went to my Troy fans who were happy that we won. So it was just, I hate Arkansas State. I don't like them at all. I despise them almost as much as I despise Tech. But man, shout out to, last thing I'll say, I know you got to get to other people. Dez has dealt with so many injuries. I know we've kind of like not given him, let him make those excuses. He's had to put this team together with bubble wrap and, and Scotch tape. And the fact that, he didn't choose lunch at the beginning of the year really does make you think how it would be. I'll just hope that, next year, if we are able to keep lunch, I pray we do, and we get one of these running backs back, and Sampson's coming to his own, I think we could be really special. I didn't think we were going to be a playoff team this year. I thought going to next year with the thought that Walker Howard was going to be the guy that we could be a playoff team. This team next year, I'm thinking about next year, we return offensive players and some defensive guys in the back end. This is a playoff team next year. I definitely believe that. I honestly believe that. That's just me. But I'll let y'all get to everybody else.
Appreciate you, T. I think that we have some massive talent, and I think that we might be interesting on the back end of next year if we can retain a large majority of the talent that we have. And then
Brent Gordon Jr.?
If Brent Gordon Jr. stays on this defense and Lunch Winfield stays on this offense, you have a story next year. Just telling you. You have the most buzz you've had, as far as I'm concerned, like real meat and potatoes buzz going into a season that you've had since probably 2021. As far as I'm concerned.
The O-line, too. The O-line is very good. It's young, too. There's only one senior, so the O-line's going to be good, too.
Now, T, you got to remember, Morrow is a senior, I believe, right? I think Caden's a senior. Maybe he's a junior.
He might be an underclassman.
Yeah, but there's still some other guys that start.
No, sure. But what I'm saying is like elite talent, like bought and paid for type talent, like guys that you can lean on going in. Somebody asked about Mackey going down. Dog, Mackey been in the program 5 years, and we're still talking about like 60 PFF grade. Like, it's tough. It's tough. We shouldn't have to deal with this.
Love the guy. Great guy.
He's a nice guy. I'm not trying to kill the guy. Just saying, like, just based on facts, it's tough. We are going to have to rebuild this offensive line because we got old guys that are aging out, and we got guys that we thought might step into leadership roles, like 75% maybe.
Yeah, he's a junior.
We got a whole other. I think we have a whole other problem on the offensive line, and that's a conversation for later. But anyway, got to move on. Rhino, if you got something, dude, still waiting for you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Hey.
I like winning, but am I happy? Like if I'm breaking down what I watched,
I'm happy like Douglas and Miami Moon, baby. I am happy.
Oh man!
My God, that's the best way to put it.
I was gonna say, listen, I got the Hey Dudes on. I got two large.
You ain't got the Hey Dudes. You got the. Yes, I do. You got the A Bros. You got the A Bros.
I got the Say Bros on. I got two large pepperoni and mushroom pan pizzas. I got my cold beer. I got my wing from Little Caesars. I got pit bulls fighting in the background with the sirens going off. But I'm going to go around the horn and say I'm not as happy as Josh with the 12-pack of Truly. I'm not as happy as Jerry in a Woody costume. I'm not as happy as Nick with a Krispy Kreme donut. And I'm not as happy as Coach Dez over there after Acadiana shuts up the Karen Crow bullhorn.
I don't even like donuts, bro, but okay. Boudin.
Yeah, use it in your bread pudding.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have to reset that. Just cut it out on the edit. Did he go full mayo? We just bounced out after that?
I think he did. I think it's like flute player Phil. We need a flute player Phil. Somebody's playing an instrument.
Hold on a second. Before we start saying that on the air, I have a daughter who has got the recorder and rehearsing for a concert. I don't want to hear anything else.
Three blind mice.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anymore.
Blind mice. We needed like an accordion Aaron or something.
Has she been playing it around the house?
2 hours, dog. Every day. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Little Mary had a little lamb, you know.
It's been rough. It's been rough. Ryan, appreciate the call. CJ,
did I go over my 40
That was a banger, dude. That was a banger.
Violation.
Listen, your shot cock violation has not rung yet. You didn't hear the recorder blow.
Hey, no, listen, no, really. I want for real. I want to say how reminiscent of this game was. Like the 2016 game, we go in there fighting for bowl eligibility. We're 4-6. We're playing A-State. We have to stop them on the goal line. The quarterback or whoever fumbles. the lineman picks it up and we stop them on like the 2-inch line.
And we spent like 15 minutes in a review.
And then now we get to 5 and we got to get to 6 or we got to beat ULM to get to 6, just like 16. Isn't that shit crazy?
It's crazy. Let me ask you this though. You were pretty down like a month ago, like all of us were. You know, we're 2-6 basically. And we're all having this conversation on the post game. We're like, damn it, you know, this is one of these other letdown years under the Desormo, Desormo. Motherfucker, don't know how to say his name. But we're having one of these letdown years again, and you're upset. We're upset. We're having these conversations. Are you feeling at least better about following the team, having something to play for? Are you like me when you say, yeah, we're doing the whole bowl eligibility thing again?
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just living in the moment. You can only be happy about what you see. And
happiness
you can also
is a slave to expectation.
You can also be pissed off about what could have been. So you think about tonight, you think about lunch since he's been in. We should never even be in this position.
Totally agree.
That's my whole thing.
And that's on the damn staff, not on the kids.
But that still, you can't say that and then say, I can't be happy about what happened tonight. You know why? Because fuck Arkansas State and fuck Bush Jones and fuck the SBC referees.
Let's go. I love it when people call in and be honest. I love that the most.
But you know what else you have to also take into perspective? Yes, it is a disappointing year, and I wasn't feeling this way when we were 2-6. But the fact of the matter is, like, if we dropped one game, so if we played, if we were both undefeated, let's pretend we're both undefeated, we play Southern Miss, we lose to them, we're out of the race. Southern Miss wins out, and guess what? We're still going to go to the same damn kind of bowl game that we're going to go to because our bowl tie-ins suck. So, you know, when you kind of step back and say, okay, yes, we sucked, but our guys are really, like, the effort they gave versus early in the year versus what they're giving now. Yeah. Like, I'm happy to see that. And I'm like, Ryan, I'm living in the freaking moment, man. Like, let's sneak into somehow with the stars line up and get into the freaking Independence Bowl again when it's not 12 degrees below zero. And yeah, more fans will be there and it'll be a lot of fun. And I think, you know, maybe we'll play a decent opponent. So
well, look, you could never be mad at beating Texas State for the last time we'll probably ever play them again. And beating Arkansas State with the chance to beat ULM to end the season. That's all I got to say.
But the effort the guys are putting out to me is what's making me stick around. If they would have given up and just kind of lollygag their way to some wins, I'd probably be like, yeah, this sucks. But they are freaking playing their asses off. I will stand by that. And yeah, I mean, I'm good with that.
And if you're a Cajun fan, right, we have learned how to make shit personal with every single program that we play. With Texas State, they're our son. Plain and simple. They'll never beat us. They can't beat us. They have a complex when they play our team. Doesn't matter if we're on the road or at home. When we play South Alabama, there's some sort of a built-in rivalry. When we play USM, there's a built-in rivalry. Like, we have figured out how to make these things personal on a week-to-week basis. So when I look at an overall record, especially in football, yeah, man, I'm not happy about 6-6. I'm not happy about 5-6, which we are now. But I can appreciate the week-to-week battle, especially now that we have Caden, who we talk to and we root for, and it just gives you a different perspective. I got my kid running around the media room when Caden catches a 3-yard out, and he's running around doing the gwitty, by the way. It ain't the gritty. When Caden does it, it's the gwitty.
The gwitty?
So I got Big Cat running around the media room doing the gwitty. You know what I mean? That's what it's about, guys. That's what it's about. And every punk-ass LSU fan that's in the damn space can holler at me all you want. Every big-time football program, you have nothing to do with that program, by the way. But the guys that show up and the girls that show up for our post-game and go watch the Cajuns and are invested in these players, they understand that week to week, there's a reason to root against Troy and root against USM and root against South Alabama. They understand the grind. And so when you beat an Arkansas State on the road, which has been tough for years, you understand what that really means. Doesn't matter what the record is. And yes, I want to win. I don't give a shit about the damn participation trophy, so don't even come at me with that. But the people that understand this program and that have followed this program and understand what it is to win in Jonesboro, that's the conversation I want to have. Because it still means something to these players, these parents, and these kids. Like, we're invested still to the end. I want to go to a bowl game. I want to beat somebody. You never know who you're going to get paired up with in a bowl game. It could turn into a actual event. The school across the basin right now just got bowl eligible. They just got 6 wins. Would it be kind of out of the ordinary, maybe, to find ourselves in like the First Responders Bowl in Dallas? Cajuns versus TSAB? I mean, are you going to sit here and tell me that you don't want to watch freaking Lunch versus I don't know who the hell the
Van Buren quarterback
Van Buren.
Van Buren, some kid. Are you telling me you're not interested in that? I'm interested. I want to see that. So we got to stick with them, man. This is not over. Like, we got a long way to go here if we can continue to do what we're doing right now.
Let me just hammer one more point, and then I'll let y'all turn the page. It would be a lot different if we were 6-2 and dropped the last 4. You were 2-6 and won the last 4. So yeah, 6-6 looks a lot different if you flip the script, right? Yeah, like if you're 6-2, you're thinking, man, you're on the outside of the playoff looking in, kind of like we were last year, if I'm being honest with you. But this season, right here, right now, we lost to Rice, we lost to EMU, we lost a lot of games to teams that you basically circled as a win to start the season. And guess what? You were able to rattle off the last 4 games or 3 or 4 games at this point to get yourself in a situation for a showdown with your biggest in-state rival, which is ULM. Now, and that's all I got to say. Show up to Cajun Field. Let's get to 6-6. Enjoy the ride because it's been a tough year for the Cajuns, and we have something to look forward to finally.
CJ Broussard, you're up next.
Hello. All right. I'm going to keep this very brief because,
sure. Absolutely.
For once in my life, I have something to do the day after a Cajuns game. So I want to start by talking about a play that we didn't really give much attention to tonight. The reverse pass by Straw that 9 times out of 10, that wide receiver, running back, whatever, he's throwing that ball into an interception.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Absolutely.
Straw picked up, 8-9 yards on that? It was a busted play that worked. And that kind of not set the tone, but it was a way of...
It busted momentum. And there was a couple of plays like that just busted momentum. Like, not necessarily great execution, great play calling. It was just a couple of stupid plays that got him on a run.
Right. It's like it somehow worked.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree with that 4th down call at the end. I would have gone for it because even if you don't get it, I agree with the points you all have said. Though I wouldn't have run a QB draw up the middle because every time we run a QB draw up the middle, Des sends Zylan on that motion out, and they'll know what it is. Like,
well, what really pisses me off is that they never have a drag blocker. They never pull somebody from the edge to actually block in the AAC gap. Never. I don't understand it. We can do it. We can even drag a tight end. Sometimes we're in a 12 personnel and the tight ends block out wide and we run it up the middle. I'll never understand that. Like, pull somebody in, get that extra blocker, and let the quarterback make the decision. Sorry.
No, you're good. I thought it's like every time Lund steps on the field, he does what he has to do to win. The stats are never going to look like, prime Byron Leftwich if we want to keep it Sunbelt. But, he does what you've got to do to win.
And by the way, did anybody else notice how he baits the defender by kind of running at a snail's pace, and then all of a sudden he turns on the Jets, and they have no shot. That is so impressive to see how he does that.
And you have to respect him in the midfield.
Correct.
Because if you don't, he will cut you up on the outside.
And no, I agree with that. And then there's the what was I? Anyway, I can't remember.
CJ, hang on one second. Let me give a shout out. Jaden Duggar, what's up? What's up?
Yeah,
listen, dude, we love y'all being in the space. We love y'all tuning into the show. Please tell the guys, defense was outstanding. The 30 number, we know that that's not real. Tell the guys we appreciate them. We love them. The effort was outstanding. We've been talking about you guys since we got on the air. So shout out to Jaden. Shout out to the defense.
And tell Martinez. Tell Martinez he's a fucking dog. That's all I gotta say.
3 points in the second half. Way to go, boys.
Go ahead, CJ.
No, I'll tag on to what y'all said. Free skip's the day I die. But we were sitting here about. I called for Dez's head about a month ago. Now, I'm not calling for Dez's head. We're still not the best, but I'm not calling for his head anymore because we shouldn't have why did we have to figure it out in game 9, I think it was, after Troy? Because we should have, again, I've been saying the things we've always said, but this time it feels different, right? Because I expected us to be, 5 and 6. I expected us to be 3 and whatever the fucking number is. Apologies. 3 and 8, I think it would be. Yeah, 3 and 8. And I expected this season, we'll beat ULM and then we'll just watch everybody leave. But no, this year, if we want to compare all the other 6 and 7 seasons, for the love of God, don't make that joke. Compared to the other 6-win, 7-loss seasons, this felt like fighting more than it did the others. Maybe I'm misremembering, but we're clawing. We're fighting our way.
You're not misremembering. Like this has been a different back end of a season. Like these guys, it matters. And guys like Jaden and guys like, and I said this last week, literally the same conversation. You have to pick up the slack when guys are out. And I know that Tyree Skipper is the heart and soul of the back end of that defense. I know it. I know it for a fact. Nobody has to tell me. I've had players tell me that this team is not the same without Tyree on the back. No, nobody tells me that about any other player. Okay, so when you lose a guy like that, you need players with the leadership skills, not necessarily just the skills on the field. You need leadership guys to step up and make plays in crucial situations. And I was on the fence about that. Who was going to do it? Because Jalen was out. Skip was out. We've got injuries on the defensive line. We got injuries in the linebacker crew. Cortland was out. Cortland's a big-time player on his football team. You can look at his stats and say, oh, he's a contributor. Cortland is a major personality guy on this team. They follow him. When he's not on the field, it's a different defense. So the reason why I say, you look at a guy like Britt Gordon Jr., he's put the tape on the field. He's put the stats on the field. But I don't care about that shit. Do the guys play for him? When he's on the field, do the guys follow him? And tonight, you found out that, yes, they do. And that's a big development on this football team. I don't care what anybody else says. The fact that those guys played for and behind Britt Gordon Jr. is way bigger of any other development that we actually talked about prior to the game. That's a big issue. This kid is 18, just turned 19. He's a baby.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And continue.
Yeah, go ahead, CJ. 15 seconds.
Yeah, 15 seconds. Okay. Now that we get the majority of our players back next week, we should be stronger on the defensive side. And I'll have better hope against ULM. And then we'll go play a shitty Conference USA team in the New Orleans Bowl. Hopefully it's Missouri State. I like the fuck out of them. Go Cajuns, free Skip.
Free Skip. What's up? I love it. Thank you, dude. Appreciate the call. Anybody else that wants to get in, it's wide open to you. But there's so many intricate details of what happened. I mean, look, we can talk about the coaching and the game plan and whatever. When you start getting out of pocket with turnovers in the first half and whatnot, the way that the game kind of starts to narrow down, it for me, and maybe you guys disagree, it becomes about individuals. And I think that individuals stepped up for this football team on the road in shitbag Jonesboro, who we all know sucks. We all know is just like it's Death Valley for the Sun Belt Conference. And you just got to tip your hat to guys that, you know, you thought were kind of emerging. And Brent Gordon Jr. is an easy example. But there are other guys. There are other guys who stepped up on the offensive line. You guys mentioned Martinez, but like young guys that we kind of talked about that allowed Lunch to operate, and then Lunch went out and did his thing. Lunch Winfield is a special athlete, period. There's nothing else to say about it. You want to talk about his accuracy? We can fix that. You want to talk about his acumen for the game? You want to talk about his understanding of the playbook? All of those things can come with experience. Don't talk to me about Lunch Winfield's ability to play football when the lights are on, because that dude is a gamer, period. It's over. The debate is over. He has won games for us on his own legs and arm. Nothing else to talk about. And I believe that locker room will play for him. I think those guys will have his back, especially when push comes to shove late in the game. So if anybody disagrees, please speak up. By the way, I'm taking more calls. I see Andre's here. Somebody please pick me up. I'm going to get Andre on the call.
I want to make a comment. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
Well, I want to make a comment to Lunch Winfield's to the point of Lunch Winfield and how much of a baller he is. You know, he not only carried the offense by himself, but there's a way that I feel like compared to other quarterbacks we've had in the past, he gives his playmakers a chance to make plays. I mean, look at Landon Struther the last 2 or 3 weeks, right? A name we haven't heard of before. He's been kind of somebody in the background. He's stepped up. He actually made a few key catches. The way Caden's being used now, look at how Lunch utilizes the tight end on the short game.
Let's not talk about the tight end usage tonight. Was not good. Not good.
But let's compare it to like the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? It's getting better. But with Lunch, I feel like the tight ends have been utilized more common than what we've seen even last year. And unless it's Terrence Carter, right? I mean, that's different. But I mean, I feel like in the last.
But why is it different? That's my question. But why is it different?
Terrence Carter.
You know, because I mean, we can do what Terrence Carter did. We've got the talent on the team. Why aren't we doing more like we did with Terrence Carter? That's my question.
Hey, Andre, appreciate you chiming in, dude. What's up?
Hey, the big thing that stuck out to me, and everyone got the small things, but I gotta say, this is the one game I was the most engaged in. I mean, from start to finish, everything that went right and everything that went wrong, the trick plays, the flexing on guys in the end zone, and I mean, I just think it's worth saying, like, we did a lot of things right and whatnot, but I mean, this is just such an engaging game, and that was a big thing that stuck out to me the whole time. I was like, man, I don't feel the urge to look away.
It was entertaining. Yeah,
it was just great. That's all I had to say. Not a whole lot. Just, I mean, like I said, everyone else kind of hit the points that I was thinking, but man, it was such a fun game to watch, even on TV.
I totally agree. And that's what you want when you get on that primetime slot on ESPN. You got to be interesting. You got to be like, and that's another thing that's another element that Lunch adds to the offense and the football team. He's fun to watch. He makes the offense fun to watch. The game was fun to watch. It came down to I can't wait to see what the rating is. It's got to be one of the better ratings for a midweek game. It was a fun game.
Yeah.
It was against a good, one of the teams is battling for a bowl and the other team is, Arkansas State, who's boo-boo. But, that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I'm so happy it ended up the way that it did. And I think Terry mentioned something about cheering quietly in the room because the babies were sleeping. I was in the same thing. My little wife was out here. And, all right, yeah, we won. All right, good night. Yeah, just such a fun thing. I'm glad that, we got to watch it.
For sure. Hey, dude, thanks for chiming in. Always appreciate your contribution. Ryan's back in. Hey, Ryan, if you can hear me, it's all about you, dude. Just unmute and go ahead.
Yeah, it's a school night, and I'm so hyped up right now. Like we don't even have any kids this week, and I'm still going to pack some fucking Lunchables for their lunch tomorrow.
Let's go. Let's go. I mean, it is one of the easiest NIL deals, endorsement deals, whatever you want to call it. It's one of the easiest plays of all time. Like, the guy's likable. He's a good player.
He's lunchable.
He's lunchable. Unfortunately, we don't have the record, and we're not going to play in like a big time bowl. But everything else is there. He's there. He's likable. He's lunchable. I think he's going to win here. It might be his junior year before we win here, but
hey, if we could keep him away from those two little snakes down the road on University, I think we'll be all right.
Well, that is an entirely. We're gonna have to get we have to hire a security firm for that to happen. Actually,
I think Terry could be the head of that.
I mean, I would not mess with Terry.
Yeah, I'll beat a motherfucker's ass. They touch lunch.
What's that? Speaking of beat some ass, and look, I know it's football and it's great to win. Did anybody watch the Stanford game last night in basketball?
Oh Lord!
Why you gotta do, man? This is a happy podcast, man.
Listen, I feel like we got some positivity out of that game.
Always
why you trying to be negative, Josh? Why you trying to be negative?
Always count on Josh.
We hadn't even played a conference game yet.
I asked a single questions. I get smoked. This must be what Bob feels like.
I mean, we haven't played a single game. You gonna ask me that? Were you at the game Saturday? No, didn't think so. You don't go to any game, so you don't
talk
know.
About basketball on Wednesday. My bad.
But no. So to answer, if I may, RC, you done? Are you done? I don't want to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
The floor is yours, sir.
But to answer Nick's question, like, why don't we use the tight ends like Terrence Carter? I love the tight end group. They are unselfish. They do their job. And Caden is one of the most well-rounded. I wish I had his maturity at his age. Lord knows what I was doing when I was his age as a player.
What a beast that guy is.
Yeah, he's a great. Like, Terrence Carter is a different type of tight end. Like, when he creates separation and running routes, it's different when other tight ends do it.
Well, he's a different mismatch. He can mismatch you on a linebacker and a safety.
Like, when I see Terrence Carter, I think like Shannon Sharp.
Yes.
Like that's the type of tight end I think of. Like, Caden's like Gronkowski.
Yes.
Like, they're not the same type of human being.
What's the dude at Baltimore? What's the dude at Baltimore?
Isaiah Likely.
Mark Andrews?
No, Andrews, big guy.
Yeah. Mark Andrews.
He's a Mark Andrews guy. He's a possession receiver.
Yeah.
And you need that.
Yeah. And so I just think that I know that we lost Terrence and we tried to recreate that, production. You cannot recreate the production for the best tight end in college football.
No.
You just can't.
No.
And nothing against the guys that we have, you just cannot. But we found ways, and like I was saying earlier, Dez, I know we give him a lot of crap, man. Like, I think there's a lot of things we got to do in the offseason, strength and conditioning, and like we're losing the nutrition program with the budget cuts and all this other stuff. But if we can keep guys healthy and maintain just this basic running offense, is like basically like option offense, dump it off the tight end, throw deep to the Samson, if we have to. This is a double-digit win team. This is a playoff team next year. Like, I honestly do believe that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to hype people up because y'all don't know I don't believe in hype. But, like, I see the product on the field and how young it is and what it could have been. There's nothing telling me that we shouldn't have at least won 8 games this year, at least.
Can we have an honest conversation? It's a bad league. You're top heavy. Yeah. You got 2 teams that are worth a damn, okay? And we played both of them. Should have beat JMU and absolutely should have beat USM, who is average at best. We beat ourselves with turnovers. Like, this is not a team that we shouldn't be beating.
Fool's gold. USM is fool's fucking gold.
Dude, you got smoked by Texas State, who is ass, who has no offensive line, who has no defense. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Okay,
we had a bad start and it carried over, I think.
Let's have this conversation. If USM cannot get into the playoff with a 1-loss record, let's say they go 11-1, what's keeping anybody in the Sun Belt? I mean, if you're not allowed 1 loss in this league and you can't get into a playoff, I mean, we need to have that conversation, because if Tulane with 2 losses is getting in before JMU with 1 loss, What are we doing? And
hey,
that's a
Cole, you
conversation
could see the propaganda machine rolling up before they released the rankings on Tuesday. You could see the propaganda machine rolling up about the AC or AAC or whatever it's called.
No doubt.
So they do all the shit about the American Conference and Tulane this, Tulane that, but they still leave out how they got curb stomped at fucking UTSA a couple weeks ago. So you could lose to UTSA, a 3-4 team at the time, by 21 points or whatever. But you're going to get mad at JMU because they lost to Louisville whenever they were leading in the second half. Man, get the fuck out of here.
I agree with you, but listen, you're setting a dangerous precedent as a committee when you're allowing a Tulane team with 2 losses in a AAC over a one. Honestly, they might go undefeated JMU from getting in, right? So the point I'm getting at is you're setting a very dangerous precedent on your committee staff because you're showing favoritism to a higher brand. Now, listen, when it comes to dollar amounts, JMU and Tulane, I would love to see what they spend together because it's probably close. JMU got a lot of money. Tulane got a lot of money. But the bottom line, but the bottom line is you're setting a very dangerous precedent with what you're doing here as a committee. And me and Josh talked about this off the air last night. I would love to hear your take. I'm going to give you the floor to kind of dive into this, Josh, if you want to.
Well, I mean, we're playing with a different deck. Like, per semester, okay? And I don't know what the athletic fee is. I think it's 3%. But semester-wise, you're talking about $33,000 in-state tuition for Tulane, okay? And they have a fee. So I think it's 3%. I don't remember what it is exactly, but I think it's 3% of that. They are operating on a different level. They can be mid. They could be, they have the ability to call up ESPN and say, we want to be on prime time, and this is what we can offer you. I don't know if you guys saw the post that was made on one of the message boards. I think it was JMU has more than double the media valuation than the entire Sun Belt Conference. Okay? If that's not good enough to get you into the college football playoff with one questionable loss, and you had look, their strength of schedule is not good. But if you can't be one of the darlings of the G6 with that amount of money, with that amount of lobbying power, then just pack it up like we're done. It's over. So,
well, you got public versus private also.
Well, sure,
Tulane is a private school, and JMU is a public school. And I know JMU, I think out of their $60 million budget, I think from athletic fees from the students is like almost 85%.
It's a big percentage. However, CFP don't give a shit if you're private or public. They want the money. That's all they care about.
Well, what I'm saying is you got taxpayers paying on one side, and you got private donors paying on the other side.
Right.
And the private donors' money is going to go a hell of a lot further than taxpayer money.
That's right.
But also along with that, right? Like, and I heard what's the dude, the PFT commentator, the guy on Barstool, he was talking about this.
Yeah. He went to JMU, by the way.
Yeah, he went to JMU, and like he did a deep dive, and there's other apps they did deep dive too. App State fan did a deep dive too about this, to where one, Tulane's AD is on the committee. We shouldn't be making rankings off committee. I think it's stupid because everybody has an agenda. Everybody wants money. The fact that we're doing things by committee, to quote Mike Leach, oh yeah, let's get a committee. That makes everything great, right? Like Tulane's AD is on the committee, and App State's AD is on the committee from the Sun Belt, and they hate James Madison. App State fans don't want to see James Madison go to the playoff, their rival. They would hate. Imagine if Tech went to the playoff. I would
hate it, but I love that sweet money, T. I love the sweet moolah.
We just lobbied for Tech to get back into the Sun Belt. You don't think we would lobby for them to get into the fucking college football playoff?
As fans, I know we'd hate it. I mean, I personally would. I don't want Tulane to get into the playoff because Tulane is already beating us. They're stuffing us in a locker when it comes to recruits, when it comes to money, when it comes to success. And we haven't, they basically beat us in everything, fan base, attendance. They beat us in everything. Tulane getting to the playoff would Yeah. I mean, Tulane getting to the playoffs would put us back another decade. Then winning the Cotton Bowl put us back tremendously.
Right. What's crazy is that their attendance before they got to Ullman, and even whenever we played in Ullman, I think in 16, like we outnumbered their fans in Ullman.
Yes,
we did. So the whole thing about Tulane, it's been since, like you said, since the Cotton Bowl, they have considerably up their brand. They took advantage of what they had. But if you think about even the last 30 years, whenever we played them in the Superdome before Ullman Stadium, we always outnumbered. They freaking sucked whenever it came to basketball.
Y'all are about to
attendance, everything.
Y'all are about to send Jerry into a tizzy. We're not going. I can't go down that road. I just saw Cole take a big swig of something. What is that? Is that Pendleton? He's still sipping that Pendleton? For the price, not bad. Be honest with you.
So let me say one more thing. Hold on, wait. Before I go back,
I was just gonna tell Kevin Dorey, you're on deck, so be ready. Go ahead, Kay.
No, I was just gonna say why. So college football playoff in the bracket and the committee, they're all about making dollars, and that's fine. It's a capitalism market. That's America, baby. Why don't we just take the top 4 G6 schools and play a fucking playoff? Like, give me Tulane. Give me JMU.
Because it becomes the FCS again.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
That's exactly playing into their hands.
Cool.
I would rather play in to my peers than have to go play Ohio State and get the doors blown off of me. And listen, maybe that's not the competitive spirit that y'all want to hear. I would rather my team go 11-1 like a JMU and actually have a playoff to go play in. Could you imagine going 11-1 and saying, we're gonna go ahead and take Tulane here at 10-2. I know they got blown out by UTSA, but they had a good win against Duke, so we're gonna go ahead and that's bullshit. Right? If I cannot go 11-1 in the Sun Belt as a Sun Belt school and play for something, what am I doing here? Like, give me I would rather just fucking split at this point because you don't
want to go to the New Orleans Bowl?
What, for the 95th time? Y'all remember in the 2000s when we went to the fucking New Orleans Bowl for 6 years in a row? And like, it was really cool for the first 4 because I was in school for it and we got really drunk on bourbon. And then after that, when I grew up, I was like, man, like this is getting, I'm running out of money. I'm getting tired. Like this sucks. Like,
well, the newness goes away. Because, Nick Saban made a comment about 5 years ago. They asked, how come players are opting out of bowl games? How come nobody's looking? How come nobody's making a big deal out of the Citrus Bowl anymore like they did in 1995? And he told them, it's your fault. The media, because all y'all do is hype the college football playoff. So if the only thing that's important is the college football playoff, why does it matter if who's in the Liberty Bowl? The Liberty Bowl used to be a big freaking deal. In New Orleans, when Tulane went to the Liberty Bowl, to y'all's points about lack of attendance, that was one year where New Orleans was invested in Tulane football when they went undefeated in 98 and people went to the Liberty Bowl. But the problem is now, it's only about the college football playoff. If you're not the top 12 teams, and they've recruited to that point to the players to where if you're not in the top 12 in the in one of those big bowls, your bowl game doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Why do you think we had so many players opt out against TCU last year? Because it didn't matter. That's the downfall of what the CFP has done. Even though I like a playoff, I don't think the NCAA will ever find middle ground there. I just don't. It's too late for that.
Can I chime in on this?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cole, you're talking about splitting it, watering it down, and you're basically playing for the Mickey Mouse Championship. Look, okay. Other than college football and the NFL, what's the biggest sport in Louisiana?
Cricket.
It's high school football.
I'm so glad that you got through, Kevin. I've been missing you, dog.
I miss you too, but it's high school football, right? So you look at they use a power rating system. It's not, well, I'm not going to say it's not political. It's not supposed to be political. They use a power rating system. It's math, it's formulas, it's numbers. It's hard to get cheated because of money or politics. And you get multiple teams in a playoff where everyone has a chance. And that's the whole point. Having a chance is what draws crowds, is what draws attention, excitement, and everything. I mean, you look at like Boise State last year. Look how many people. I mean, I know they usually bring a lot of people to the Fiesta Bowl, but look how many people they brought to that game against, what was it, Penn State? I mean, they probably had more fans than Penn State, and it was a somewhat competitive game.
It was important, though, Kev. It was important to them. Yes.
You're playing for something. You have a chance. You have a chance. That's what it's about.
If this fan base had an opportunity to beat Penn State, we're bringing 40, just like we did in the goddamn Superdome.
Like you said earlier, if you put us against TSAB in the fucking Dallas Bowl or whatever the hell it is, we're going to bring 50,000 fans.
And you never remember that we started the season 2-6.
Exactly. So that's why I think we talked about this on one of the pods last year. I think it was actually the Texas State week. We talked about the whole CFP thing and how, we were talking about expansion. And I said, I think you're going to come to a point where either you need to expand the son of a bitch to where you have every single conference winner plus some in a playoff, and you do away with bowl games completely. And you might have a 20-something or 30-something team playoff. Fine.
You got to do away with conference championships too, because that's a policy.
Yeah, that's my point. The whole point of the first goal of every college football team, in my opinion, is to win the conference championship. That should be your first goal. Well, the reward for that should be playing in a playoff for a chance to win a national championship. If you're going to keep expanding the playoffs, you like I think Jerry may have said it a few minutes ago, all these players opting out for bowl games, and it takes away the importance of bowl games. Why even play them? Just expand the playoff and make it worthwhile for everybody, instead of us bringing, 500 or 1,000 people to Albuquerque last year. If that's a playoff game against, Arizona State, look how many more people you're going to bring and how much more excitement it's going to have and buzz it's going to build around the program. That's what I think about it. I think a split would be bad.
Well, here's the thing, though. We've talked about this before, and here's where I think it's very important if you allow all of the conference champions to make the CFP. One advantage that you would have to recruit is the fact that you can recruit to players saying now you can compete for a national title if you make the playoff. Now, is the parity still going to exist with NIL? That's where the interesting question comes in, right? Because we don't have $20 million to buy a team like some other schools do. So the question is how do you
divide our governor and he can give it to us? These are the alumni.
Yeah, right, exactly. But how can you divide the NIL side where some teams are paying more than the $20 million they're allotted to and recruit to say, hey, if you win this conference championship, you're in the playoff competing for a national title? I have a bad feeling money's always going to win there. So I'm it's a good talking point, and it's a good question. It does bring up good conversation. I don't know if tonight's an appropriate night to talk about it, but
yeah, Jerry, hold on.
How do you divide that between the NIL and
$100 million budget, and Acadiana has a $1 million budget? College athletics is so. This is not high school kids, 18-year-old kids playing against each other. I know that it's you want to make that conversation, but now you're factoring in budgets, right? LSU and UL do not have the same budget. USC and UL do not have the same budget. Texas and UL does not have the same budget. What I'm saying is, why don't we make a 4-team playoff, a very small playoff with the schools that we actually have a chance to compete against? And it would make money, first off, because the viewership would be awesome, because it would be a bunch of Midwest schools, a bunch of Southern schools that are not SEC or ACC or Big 12. All I'm saying is the P4s, it's the haves and the fucking have-nots. And we are the have-nots, whether you believe that or not. We are not on the level of Texas. We are not on the level of Ohio State. I hope to be there one day, but it's going to be probably at the end of my life, because we don't have any donors to get us there at this point. So what I'm saying is, if you want to rejuvenate some athletes in this city, in this region, and you could say, hey, if you come to UL, we play every year for a group of 6 national championship, or whatever you want to call the goddamn championship. If you tell me that we get to go to a playoff against the best of the G6 schools every year, that's something that UL can compete for, not $100 million roster.
It's a good point. Let me reset. Let me reset.
No, that's a good point, Cole.
Kevin, stick around.
I hear what you're saying.
Stick around. Let me reset. So we have a situation where we just played a football game against an in-conference rival.
Yeah.
And it's a team that we have a lot of history with, right? When we were 2-6, the coaching staff told the players we were in playoff mode. We have now gone 3-0 in the playoffs. We're 5-6. We're a game away from bowl eligibility. And look, I'm at the very top of the heap saying, are we back to saying bowl eligibility bullshit? All right, whatever. I can't stand it, but here we are. Based on everything we've dealt with this season, based on the players we have, and based on what we know about the team now, we're moving into a situation where we can go 6-6 and play in the postseason. As stupid and wonky and overplayed as it is, we may have the opportunity to have that extra game, which means extra practices, extra interest, extra money. It's big for a program like ours. As a group, how do we feel about where we are right now? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. With a guy like Lunch who continues to get better every single week, and his pocket presence, and we didn't talk about his pocket presence very much because the offensive line was not very good today, but his ability to make decisions on the fly, the running back game, the wide receivers that have largely been ignored but are starting to learn how to play with Lunch, the tight end room who has honestly been more featured than they were with the previous quarterbacks. Okay, let's be honest with it. So, do we feel like we're moving in the right direction? Do we feel like the coaching staff is adapting to the players? And are we going into a situation with ULM? And yeah, I know their injury list is very long, but is this one of these games where you have that extra interest that you thought maybe 5 weeks ago didn't exist? And do you feel like there's still some interest in getting this team into the postseason beyond the very diehard fans? And I'm going to start with Cole because Cole had a great point earlier about that. We'll start with Cole.
My bad, guy. Hold on. I was reading some comments here. Go to Jerry first. And I want him to hammer it home. I was going through comments. I apologize for being unprepared. I'm going to own that. Go ahead, G.
Absolutely. I mean, 3 or 4 weeks ago, you saw me in some of the post-game shows. I was so checked out because the apathy had kicked in with a 2-5, 2-6 record. It was the same, like when the CDs used to kind of skip and it would just repeat itself. It was kind of the same mistakes.
We were saying the same shit on every post-game and every pregame.
That's right. And these last 3 games, not only have we not done that, but we've seen this team evolve. And we've seen just something just clicks with this team, with the injuries, with the suspensions. We've become the little engine that could. And this team has not quit. And that's what keeps me intrigued in this. We could talk about the Eastern Michigan loss. We could talk about us struggling against McNeese. This team today would destroy that team because of the mentality and the mindset and the way we've gotten better. One thing that I will say, though, is I think it's a double-edged sword. Now, I'm glad you brought that up, Josh, about getting excited about the ULM game. Look, I'm always excited about the Cajuns, but apathy kicks in sometimes. I'm fired up about the ULM game because I want to see this team bounce back and persevere like they have in the last 3 games.
But let's acknowledge that everybody knows this. I mean, this is very obvious. You have to be a certain kind of fan to be excited to play ULM in anything.
Absolutely.
And the fact that we found a way to rebuild this season and we have found a way to root for certain individuals, I am personally, as somebody who follows the Cajuns and a diehard, I'm excited to see how this season ends. Do you feel like that carries over to the, general public, the general fan base? I feel like there is some interest, but what do you think? I mean, is this something that you can get behind?
Well, look, let's take Lunch. Look at the endorsements, the NIL deals. Look at the marketing that has come with Lunch just by himself. Then you played on national TV tonight in probably one of the most epic finishes and back and forth games you could have asked for. It was probably one of the more entertaining midweek games in college football that they've had all year.
There's been several this year.
Hands
with
down.
Him at the helm.
Correct. Last week, same thing with Texas State. Even with the after game drama, the game itself was really good. It's the last 3 games has been entertaining. The offense is clicking, defenses made big stops to where an ordinary fan who watches those games can say, huh, look at that play. Oh, look at what Lunch did. Oh, look at that long throw to Sampson. Oh, yeah, Sampson. I remember that. To me, the entertainment factor has increased, and plus we're winning. So people are going to be curious about that. So I do know, Josh, to answer your question, yes, I do think the average fan, if they've seen what they've seen the last 3 weeks and watch what they watched tonight, there's something intriguing about this football team. And I think, let's be honest, as ordinary fans, if I'm thinking, who maybe not follow this team, look at the record and go, how in the hell was this team 2-6 compared to what they're doing now? That storyline is also pretty interesting.
They've built a storyline.
They've
It's a great
built a
way to put it.
storyline, and it's just there's something about this team that people may put an extra set of eyes on. Like there's something about this team that's interesting.
Can I say something?
Go ahead,
John, would you like to cut in?
Yes.
By all means, please do so.
Look, I'm just going to say this. I agree with what you said, Josh. I agree with what Ryan said all night. So I'm out here, Pensacola Beach, and I went to a bar tonight, and we put the game on TV because they were more interested in the NFL. But you know what? Everybody, the minute I got up and started cheering on the Cajuns, the whole bar cheered on the Cajuns, all right? None of them knew who they were. Nobody knows. It is what it is. But I applaud those people for doing that. We need those fans. We really do. So, did I expect that win tonight? Absolutely fucking not. I'm sorry. I'm gonna use that language. Did I not? No. I expected us to lose, but you know what? We won tonight, and you know what? That sparked another interest in me. I'm proud of our team, and I'll tell you what, that defense fucking made it happen.
16 points. 16 points in 4 quarters after all those suspensions, after all the youth, after all the bullshit. They stepped up.
But you know what? We gotta win out of it. We gotta win out of it.
No, 100%.
We gotta win.
Totally agree.
We were on the mothership. We were on the mothership tonight, and we got the win. So we could bitch about a lot, but we got the dub tonight. And in all my life, being a Cajuns fan, when we're on ESPN, we never win. But you know what? Tonight we won, and I'll take that. And I disagree with a lot of stuff that went on with the team, but the team made it happen. And kudos to those guys. Super kudos to those guys, especially what happened after the Texas State game with the guys that got suspended. So I can't fault them. I think, you know what? I hope it sparks something. I hope the team that made it happen tonight sparks something with the whole program. And obviously, we're going to beat the shit out of ULM. Yes, I said that tonight. And then we're going to go to a bowl game. And, we're going to support them, as we should.
I totally agree. And that's kind of the entire spirit of this little segment here is, if you can't get behind this, I mean, are you a Cajuns fan? If you can't get behind a guy if you can't get behind a guy like Lunch, and you can't get behind a resilient group like this team, I kind of, I'm going to question your fandom.
I'll even go a little.
Josh, I agree with you. And we got behind tonight, and I had the whole bar, Islander, Pensacola Beach. If anybody wants to come out,
let's go.
The whole bar was rooting for them because I was there, and we said, they didn't give a fuck because the NFL game sucked. But it was awesome. It was awesome to see people in another state root for our Cajuns. But at the same time, let's just keep that going. They don't understand what we're going through. They don't understand the suspensions I had after the Texas State game, which was bullshit. But look, that's another win. We beat Butch Jones. Screw him. Screw Arkansas State. But let's go down Cajun Field, ULM game, slap them around. Let's go to a bowl game. That's what I want to see.
Let's go.
Damn, Super John dropping
Super J.
fucking bombs. Go to Super John.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, I'm glad, John, you're positive tonight, dude. I'm loving
Very
it.
positive.
I'm loving
And look,
this spirit of Super J.
Shout out to the other states that are rooting for the Cajuns. You know, Florida is kind of one of our like brother or sister states. But when I was living in Colorado, dude, I'd do the same thing. Shout out to Swanky's. That was my little hometown bar. I'd go downtown on 17th and Blake, and I would watch the Cajuns at Swanky's because the guy's from Metairie, by the way. He owned Swanky's downtown. If you're in downtown Denver, Swanky's, dude. That's where you got to go watch the game. Anyway.
Swanky's in Karen Crow?
Swanky's in downtown Denver, Lodo, baby. Anyway, I met a bunch of Cajun fans out there just because I was out there hollering and screaming, just like John's probably doing in Pensacola, just like Terry's doing every time he's deployed or moving around. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort for people to see the passion that you have. So if you're out there, you're a Cajun fan, you love the Cajuns, just go be yourself, and people will naturally gravitate toward that. And tonight was one of those nights one of those rare nights, by the way, where we're on the mothership and everybody can kind of partake. And every now and then, they have a little, sports investment on the result, and it gets a little more interesting for everybody. But I'm telling you right now, since I was in the military and I was in the oil field, I've moved around a ton in this country. I still have people text me, call me when the Cajuns are on big TV, talking about the mothership or on like Fox or whatever, and they'll tell me, hey, see the Cajuns on TV, rooting for the Cajuns. I mean, I get that all the time. And all it was is me just being myself, rooting for the Cajuns above all else. It didn't matter who the hell we were playing for or against. Maybe it was Florida State, maybe it was freaking Arkansas State. Doesn't matter. If you go be a Cajuns fan, people gravitate toward passion. So keep doing that.
Yeah. Speaking of what John said, also, like, another positive thing about this also is, I don't know if y'all know this, like, if we go to, I know it's like 7-6 is not sexy, right? Like, we have bigger aspirations. We've achieved a lot more in this program. We want to achieve a lot more after. But, like, if we go 7-6, win 7 games this year, you average over 7.5 wins in the CFP era. And that's ahead, like, we always want to compare ourselves to our peers. That's ahead of Tulane. That's ahead of Marshall. That's around where App State is. That's around where, like, San Diego State, Toledo. So, like, averaging almost 8 games a year, winning 8 games a year consistently. I know the Sun Belt isn't like, everybody's like, sexy conference, but this is like true college football. You build your team to win in conference. And if you can consistently win, good things are going to happen.
Terry, if HUD goes 7-6 rather than losing to Georgia Southern in the last game of the season at home,
that hurt.
We never have the Napier era because he probably gets re-signed for one more year. Or he gets to finish his contract, and then we'll probably sign a Brent freaking Pryor to go 3-9 for 3 years.
Or Kevin Sumlin.
Yes, or Kevin
Plain
Sumlin.
watch.
Shout out to Kevin at the Northside Popeyes. That was a real thing, by the way.
Plain watch.
That really happened. It really happened. But just to say, like, that's how finite these moments are. That's how things can be made or broken just in like a week, literally in a week. Like, if HUD doesn't lose to Georgia Southern, who just fired their freaking coach in the home finale, it's over. It's not over for HUD. He continues. But because he lost, it was over, and the coaching search was on, and the phone calls started, and the agents were involved. That's how finite it is. So, I don't know what the hell's going on in the other places, but all I know is that if you go 7-6 in this day and age in college football, it's not an unsuccessful season in the Sun Belt. Unfortunately, this is it's the circle we occupy. Cole, I mean, damn. It's unfortunate, but this is where we are. You go 7-6, they're gonna call it a successful season. They don't give a shit that you lost to Rice and that it was you weren't very competitive about the first 3 or 4 games that you played in the season, other than McNeese, obviously. But they don't care about that. They care about 7-6. You got people to the stadium, I guess, and then you play in a bowl game. That's what they care about.
I don't care about what anybody thinks about us, but us, right? Because
let's go.
If you were 6-2 and lost 4, or if you were 2-6 and won 4, it's a totally different story. The fact that we had this total resurgence honestly mostly on the offensive side.
Oh, sure.
I mean, where we are, you could be proud of being 6-6, 7-6. It's okay to be a Cajuns fan. Like, you don't have to compare yourself to the big bad mothership that is 45 million minutes down the road every chance you get. Like, we can be okay with where we are, especially from where we came from a month ago, a month and a half ago.
Every
Guys,
6-6 record is not made equally, right?
It's not.
It almost feels like we're on the come right now, okay? Depending on where we end up, final stats and records or whatever, if we play in a bowl game and we get our ass kicked, whatever, it almost feels like we're on the come, and you feel better about going into 26, and I think Terry would probably agree, and Terry, by all means, chime in, but if you in this season, 6-6, you go into a bowl game, maybe you compete against a bigger school, right? You feel good about 26. I would,
I'm telling you, man, 2026, and I don't ball on hype, but I buy into returning production. We were bottom, we were in the 120s in returning production this year. It was bad. But if we return the production that we have, we're easily going to win the West. I have no doubt.
Right.
And I don't believe in hype. I believe in statistics.
But now we have an identity, Terry. We didn't have an identity coming into this football season. I don't care what anybody says. When you talked about Cajun football, it was an abstract idea. Now you have a guy that runs the offense, and maybe it's not exactly how they thought it out, but you know what Lunch is capable of. You have concrete evidence of what we can do on the football field. I don't think we started the season that way.
Well, but what you can do is you can translate how Lunch finished this year and put that into spring, put that into fall practice. You can actually have an off season to build around that.
You have an identity going into spring.
Absolutely. 100%.
Boys, this is the NIL Wild Wild West. We have to talk about that. Can you keep them here? That needs to be said. Let's talk about that too.
We need some mafia connections. That's what we really need. And by the way, I know a couple guys.
But no, going back the identity you talked about, Josh, beginning of the year, remember when Dez was like, oh, we got to throw the ball. I looked at the stat. I think we're 75% of our offensive yards are rush yards. And you know who's also up there, above us? Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State, I know they're in Conference USA. They beat us in a bowl game. They might win 10 games this year. I mean, they have an identity.
They know who they are. That's it. They know
who they are. They could win 10 games this year. You don't have to be Brett Favre out there slinging. Go with what you have.
Hey, remember when you
played?
played?
My biggest issue with Dez this year is the fact that he tried to force things and just didn't know who his team was. That pisses me off more than anything, because if we were this, and look, guys have gotten better and we have evolved. So you can't look back and say, what should we have done? I understand that part. But I feel like if we had a better grasp on what we did well going into, say, week 3, this is a completely different team, completely different results. And I know it's easy to say in hindsight, but I mean, I don't think anybody can really argue the fact that Lunch was the clear, maybe not necessarily polished quarterback, maybe not necessarily the known quarterback, but damn, he gives you options. How do you not know that?
Big Kev's gonna argue with you.
Dude,
I know
guys,
Kev.
This is the number 2 ranked quarterback in the Sun Belt, and he was the 3rd quarterback on our roster. Let's put that into fucking perspective.
Say it again, Cole. Man. Say it again for the people in the back.
This is the number 2 ranked quarterback in all of the Sun Belt, and he missed 4 starts of the season. And he was the number 3 quarterback on our starting day roster. Who dropped the ball on that shit? And I'm going to call that out all day long. And if you ain't got a big enough pair of nuts to own that shit and say, hey, I missed, well, you don't deserve to have a college job. I'm just saying.
Well, we gave NIL to the wrong quarterback. We gave the NIL money to the wrong quarterback. Everybody knows what we're talking. Yeah.
But that's what happens.
Now we're having a conversation.
That's what happens when coaches out coach themselves and try to be too smart and try to outthink themselves. You get the 2-6 start. It's pretty simple. You get the 2-6 start. Sometimes, look, We played Terry, were you on the 2012 team?
Yeah, I was there.
We played Arkansas State at home. Remember, that was HUD's first home loss.
Yeah, that was bad. That was the Gus Malzahn jet sweep game.
When Gus Malzahn runs,
was nasty though. It really was.
But he ran the jet sweep 9 straight times and scored on us like 3 times.
I could hear my dad in the stands. They're running the stand play.
When you run it at 9, but so to my point about what we're talking about now with lunch, just stick with what freaking works, because it's obviously working now.
Yeah.
So I hope moving forward we now we know.
What's strange to me is in 2023 when Ben started the season as a starter, and he goes down in the UAB game at UAB, and Zion Chris comes in. Was Chandler Fields healthy back then at that game at that time?
Yeah. I think he was.
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
So here's this is where I'm going with that. You put in Zion Chris, who was the third string quarterback, because Chandler was behind behind Ben, and we win that game 47-3 or something before they score like a garbage time touchdown, and then Zion turns into a really good quarterback for us that year until, as we know, you go to Arkansas State and kind of get too big for your head, whatever. So the same kind of thing happens this year, right? Your starter goes down. You have a second string quarterback who's the youngest of the group, who was extremely, extremely good in high school, can sling it, can run, whatever. And then you have a third string quarterback that's mobile, that the guys all love. They love to play for him. He's kind of like the Jameis Winston of the team, right? Why don't you do the same thing that you did in 23 that worked and go with the Zion, the Winston type guy, the Zion, the mobile guy that can make plays? Why don't you do that? Why'd you go with Beal and end up going 2-6? And why did it take so long
You want the real answer?
You want 23 and 25.
You want the real answer, Kev?
What happened between then and now? Yeah,
nothing happened. The same stubbornness happened.
No, it didn't. He did it right. He did it right in 23, and he did it wrong this year.
No, he didn't. He's never done it right. We've always had issues at quarterback. Whenever Zion Chris was the spring and the fall camp starter, because Chandler Fields and Ben Wooldridge were hurt the whole time. And he did all the spring snaps, all the fall snaps, all the way up into training camp. And you know who started?
Wooldridge.
Okay.
Who ended up being the best out of the 3.
No. That was 2 years ago. He was the best out of the 3 last year.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it should have been Chris the whole time.
Oh, we saw that in spring.
Well,
we saw that in spring.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I see what you're saying, because that could have been said for this year. You
Kev,
could have said,
let me bring it back to current.
Hold on, Josh. I'll say this: if you start lunch after Walker for the McNeese game, we're definitely not 5-6.
I can get behind that.
What's his record? What is Lunch's record this year?
What was the first game?
He's 4-3, I think. I think he's 4-3, guys. I think he's 4-3 right now as a starter.
If you count Marshall, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, let me bring it back current. And I appreciate all your points. I mean, you guys have good points on both sides, right? And Kev, I absolutely appreciate what you're saying. Lunch 7 games ago is not Lunch today. Just a fact. The guy's grown. He's not a 5-read quarterback, but he's more than a 1-read quarterback. He's a, I think that they've done a good job of kind of working him into the offense. Do I think they were late on recognizing what he could do for the offense? Absolutely. I have my gripes about how the coaching staff used him, and that's a whole other probably 2-hour pod. But today, right, I kind of want to be here. I want to live in the moment. We're 5-6. We're going into ULM. We have an opportunity to salvage this absolute bomb of a season. If I can get some opinions from the guys, and anybody can chime in. Anybody who wants to request to speak, I'll get you on.
A little off subject, sorry. Did you guys like the black helmets?
Hell no. No, it was horrible.
Yes.
It was horrible.
Yes.
Horrible.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, listen. Hey, the helmets were great. The helmets were great. The black and the white and the black against the all black is not great. We should have been straight up red, white, red with the big Florida league. My biggest complaint is we've never had a big ass Florida league on a red helmet. As many years as I've been following this program, never.
Poor Josh, man. He's trying to this is like the third time he's tried to ask us this question.
No,
sorry, Josh.
The fact of the matter is the uniforms were horrible tonight. I don't care what anybody says. They were terrible.
The helmets are good. Helmets are fine.
Can we at least agree that the black helmets with the Florida League is better than the red, white, and blue, black helmets that we wear?
Absolutely.
Oh, no,
Absolutely.
way better. Still bad, but better.
Throw those away. Please just go with the black Florida League helmet.
Just put a black face mask on it. It's great. And take the stripes off.
Thank you.
All black. All black Florida League.
Light them on fire. Anyway, going forward.
Look, I'll answer your question for you.
Sorry.
We should absolutely be excited right now. We should absolutely be living in the moment. We should all be happy. That's the reason it's 12:32 Central Time. We probably all got work tomorrow, and we're up talking to a damn
school night
Twitter.
School night, babe.
Kev,
School night. School
10
night,
seconds.
boy.
You bastards have 10 seconds, and I'm going to ask my freaking question.
40-second shot cock.
The old shot cock.
No, this is the reason why.
5 seconds.
Tonight is the reason why you should always hold the rope. Keep the faith. It don't matter if we're 2-6, 1-6, 1-8, whatever. You should be excited every week because you don't know how many of these things we got left.
I agree.
We got to always be excited, always support. That way, when this moment happens and we won 4 damn games in a row and we're going to go freaking bowling in a few weeks, we can say, hey, I was there the whole time and I never let go.
And that's what being a fan's all about. Sticking with it. All right.
And we going to Simcoe tonight, baby. Miami Moon.
Miami Moon after the shot cock. Get out of here. All right. What gives you the most confidence moving forward? Is it lunch? Is it the offensive line? Is it the coaching staff? Is it the explosive playmakers that we have? Is it Samson developing a rapport with the quarterback? What is it? What do you feel great about moving forward? I'm going to start with Cole, and we're going to move clockwise, but what is it about, and it may not even necessarily be this performance. It may be a pattern. Maybe a pattern of every game, every week, maybe a couple practices in a row, certain guys are stepping up. What do you feel good about moving forward that we go into a bowl game and we get momentum moving to 2026?
We figured out how to play complementary football. We figured out how to call plays on the offense for the most part. It's not great, but it's way better than the Rice and the EMU. We figured it out, boys. We're scoring 30 plus points a game. What more can you ask for? Your defense just gave up 3 points in the second half against a very lethal quarterback wide receiver combination. And by the way, if you want to dispute that wide receiver is the #1 receiver in the country in yards.
Well, he's the best. He's the best in the history of Sunbelt.
And
ever.
You shut him down with a freshman. Shut him down with a freshman.
Cole, let me ask you a question. Were you impressed with Rayner
tonight? Overall, nah. In a sense, would I like to have him on my team? Yes, but in an overall sense, no. I mean,
you take Rayner over lunch?
No, I'm taking lunch, and he showed it tonight. But Rayner, this is what's crazy, and I'm glad you asked that. Rayner played. I'm not going to say equal to lunch. I think he played less than lunch, but Rayner has 3 years of experience.
He missed layups.
But here's the problem.
On drags.
But wait. Is that a Rayner problem or is that a coaching problem? Because if we had a Jalen Rayner on our team and knew how to use him, he would be lethal in this offense. Because guess what? We know how to run the ball here. So if I can complement Jalen Rayner with a Bill Davis and a Zylan Perry and a Blanco, dude, I mean, the sky's the limit for him. But the problem is Arkansas State is so one-dimensional. It's literally, if you can't feed Corey Rucker, the game's over.
And Rayner is their running game.
Bingo. Thank you. And that's why at the very beginning of this show 2 hours ago, I said the front four did a good job in the second half of stopping Rayner from running the football. Because if you stop that, you make them one-dimensional. You know what's bad about them being one-dimensional? Brent Gordon took away Corey Rucker the entire second half. So they went from being one-dimensional to zero-dimensional. They scored 3 points. 3 points. And if there's any Cajun football players watching tonight, defense, way to fucking stand up in the second half. You won the football game in the second half. I love you boys.
That was the defense I thought I was getting in week one.
In week one. No
and
doubt.
we did it with reserves. And look, I don't care about two deeps. I know that you have to step up. That's part of the college football game now. Those guys, and look, Bates had some inexperienced moments. And I know guys were kind of trying to, they were talking about how Lake Bates couldn't play, whatever. I'm telling you right now that Lake Bates had more positive moments than he had negative moments. So shout out to the entire secondary, but you can't do what they did without Brent Gordon Jr. eliminating the best wide receiver that we've seen in this league.
Because everything he did was 100 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
Even his negatives, which are very few. As long as you're making negative plays at 100 miles an hour, there will be nobody on this fan base that will criticize you ever. Because guess what? If you're doing everything at 100 miles an hour, there's going to be far more positives than negatives at the end of the year. So getting back to the point, by the way, and I want to drop this. For anybody still tuning in tonight, by the way, Rage and Review way after dark. We will have
That's a fact.
We will have a football game at the tailgate after the game next Saturday. That is built in stone. Jerry's going to be kicking barefoot over the cooking trailer at Waffle House. Anyway,
come get some. I'm willing to put money down on that.
We have something to look forward to, boys. And if you're telling me at the end of it all, and listen, is it a pat on the back? It is a moral victory. I don't give a shit. I do not care what anybody thinks but us at this point. We have a chance. We have a chance to clinch a bowl game against your in-state rival, historic in-state rival at home. And it's going to be a great day. There's a gumbo cook-off. Show up, get drunk, $2 natties. I mean, just make it a day. Bring your kids. There's a whole ass hill for your kids. I bring all three of my young ass kids every Saturday. The Gilbo family is on the hill watching Cajun football. Make it a day. It's the end of the year. What are we doing? Hey, let's get to 6-6. Let's go bowling and let's see what freaking happens, man.
Absolutely. It's something to go for. And shout out to Chandra. She made a great point. Avery Demery had a nice game. Kind of had a rough start. Got a little handsy. It happens. Young guys get in there, try to make a play. But yes, he did eliminate 7 down the stretch. That's a great point. And we did do enough job. We did a good enough job to spotlight Avery Demery. What you got? Who's that, Terry?
Yeah, it's free little bowl game. Will Albino come too? Can we ask Corey?
Dude, Albino was in Griffin today, apparently. I saw a video.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The man is in the trenches. If you can't respect this dude climbing freaking Griffin, who we've all sweated our ass off to get up to the top of, then you're not a Cajuns fan. You're not a UL fan.
Albino looks great in person, by the way. Pictures do it no justice. In pictures, it looks goofy. If you see it in person, you're like, that's actually a pretty damn good costume. And I'm not originally an albino fan. I didn't care for the concept. That is a very well put together costume, and the character is top notch.
And the personality, dude. He's got it. Like, what he's doing is going to work. If he sticks with it, it's going to work.
Dude, if we get if they would just let the guy in the game, I guess you can't legally let him in because he's not an official mascot and he's wearing a mask. So I guess you can't legally let him inside the stadium. But if they allowed albino, the same thing that they did at Arkansas State today, Sports Center on Thursday and on campus, if you put this guy in front of a camera on ESPN, I think it does gangbusters.
That, or imagine if they try to arrest him or kick him out of the game at the gate. You think he's got media attention now? Wait until that shit happens.
Yeah.
So, look, Corey's killing it, dude. If this damn administration has half a brain between the 40 of them, they're going to just let him in the game to do his thing and then let him, move on out. But once he makes his appearance, it's over. It's over. I don't care what anybody says.
I have 40 people in the administration now? Do we even have the money to pay 40 guys?
No
way.
Once he made his appearance at the tailgate area and the kids saw him, it's over. It is over. They either have to respond with something of their own, or they have to let Al be Al. Period. It's over. I'm just telling you. And T, by the way, you got to come in town, dude. You got to come in town. You got to come to the tailgate. You got to experience Corey's creation in person. You have to do it.
I got Terry's plane ticket. I got Terry's plane ticket.
If we go to a bowl game and it's close to Monterey, California, I will be there. I promise.
Let's go.
If we could have gone to the Hawaii Bowl, I could have gone to that a few years ago. We got back to the Hawaii Bowl. But
got your plane ticket, Terry.
We're all sleeping at Terry's house.
I only got one spare bedroom, bro.
Look,
sleeping
dude,
bags.
I've slept on the floor a couple times.
That's right.
But anyway, I mean, it's a big deal. And shout out to Corey. I can't say enough about how he pulled this off. So great. But getting back to the football, if you can't be, I understand that this is not the season you wanted. I stupidly predicted us to go 12-0. Okay? So nobody's been more wrong than I.
Yeah,
it's been bad.
Idiot.
Goddamn idiot. And that's fine. I'll take the lumps. But if you're a Cajuns fan, you got to find a reason to jump on the bandwagon, to go ahead and, put all those aspersions aside and say, you know what, we had a rough time, we had injuries, blah, blah, blah. You can lie to yourself all you want. I've done it to myself as well. If you're going to make a 6-6 season kind of like the pinnacle or whatever, great. And then we go for the bowl game. It's still something to root for. I am not a loser. I understand it's not what we wanted. We're not ranked. We're not in the CFP conversation. I get all that shit. But if you can't root for a bunch of kids that have, at this point, if we make it by beating ULM, we would have won 4 in a row, 5 in a row, something like that. If you can't root for that, are you a Cajuns fan? I get that we're not going to be on TV and ranked and in the playoff, but you still got to root for the kids, man. We've been through a lot this season. Some of it is our own doing. Some of it is the coaching staff. But damn, we broke in lunch. We found some guys that really are big time contributors in one of these seasons where certain guys just didn't work out. There's still a lot to be interested in. There's still a lot to follow. Be a Cajun fan, right? Am I off base?
If it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy to be a Cajun fan, everybody would do it, right?
If it was easy, we would just be LSU fans.
Yeah, those people across the basin couldn't last a day. Those people couldn't last a week as fan pulling for the teams we pull for.
But the bottom line is, growing up, and we had this conversation throughout the week because of all the things we saw with the players that we had at LSU. How bought in are we into this university? Guys, we grew up here. Being a Raging Cajun is not just a mascot. It's literally our ethnicity. I am a Cajun. And we have an A-Bear, a Jogno. We have a Dome. Thank you. But the point is your culture, your ethnicity is on the brand of the Cajuns. So if you're not, my biggest pet peeve in Lafayette, Louisiana, and guys across the board and the people that are listening in, y'all agree with this. Y'all know people that have grown up in Lafayette, in Scott, in Broussard, in Youngsville, in Carencro, that do everything they can to go out their way to hate UL when their last name is Guidry, Gilbo, Landry, LeBlanc. You're literally the representative of the fucking brand. What are you doing?
Man, so
the bottom line I'm getting at is it's okay to be proud of your school, even if it's as minuscule as 7-6, because guess what? It's a win. And in this day and age of Cajun athletics and Cajuns in general, it's very few and far between to get a win. It is.
And Cole, you're going to have these, dude. You're going to have those 10s and those 11s, but you're going to have more of those 7s and those 6s. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be able to weather those storms so that when the 10s and the 11s come, and they will come, might be 5 years apart, but when they get here, there's still got to be a fan base that's entrenched.
Can
That's
I say
us.
one more thing? Could you imagine being a Cajuns fan? And I'm going to use Tulane as a reference, and I know it's not a great reference because it's in state. Could you imagine being a Cajuns fan, and you go and you play in the Rose Bowl against USC and you win that game? Right? Is that not what happened to Tulane a couple years ago? Tulane just came off of a string of awful seasons. They put it together finally, and they go win a fucking New Year's Six game. Could you imagine if that would happen to the raging fucking Cajuns?
No, I
Could
can't.
you imagine it? Thank you.
I think about
And
it.
guess
You know,
what? We are,
That's
and
the
we are,
dream.
and it is the
I
dream.
think
but
about it sometimes.
We're more comparable to
That's why I want
Tulane
that
than we
playoff
are.
thing.
And I'm going to end it with this, and I'm going to let. We're more comparable to Tulane than people think. We're more comparable to Tulane and less comparable to LSU. We need to quit comparing ourselves to LSU and start riding what Tulane is doing and follow that coattail, because what they're doing is working. They are literally the front runner for the CFP. They are literally on 2 years or 3 years away from winning the Rose Bowl or whatever bowl it was. I think it was the Rose Bowl.
The Cotton Bowl. It was the Cotton Bowl.
It doesn't matter. It was against USC. I know that. But the point is, it was a New Year's Six game. Like, we are closer to Tulane than LSU. Give it up. Like, LSU has a foothold in this state where 2/3 of this state, they pop out a kid, like literally push one out of their vaginas and say, hey, I'm going to slap on some purple and gold, and you're a Tiger now, baby. And guess what? That is, and I'm sitting here being funny, but the LSU brand is bigger than the Saints in this state. It's bigger than the Pelicans in this state. It's bigger than professional teams, right? So we're fighting against the wrong enemy. We need to first focus on the teams that are within our reach, and then we can strike up, like Josh likes to say.
I always punch up. And let me just remind you, I'm going to let Jerry go. Give me 10 seconds. We dominated Tulane in every sport for 15 years. And then they decided, you know what? Maybe we should care about sports. And the moment they did that, they launched themselves into another stratosphere, and they did it by social media. They did it by advertisement. They did it by expanding their footprint. And yes, they won a big game on a national stage, which we also did, but we never took the torch and took it to another level. We never did. In fact, when we went 13-1, we lost our biggest fundraiser, and we didn't hire another one. We never put a billboard up. We never put a banner up. We didn't give a fuck. We moved on to the next coaching staff and the next regime, and nobody knew that we were even in contention for college football supremacy. That is the damn difference. And Tulane, to their credit, who I'm kind of becoming a fan of, closet fan, has done a phenomenal job of taking a very marginal brand, Cole. It's been a marginal brand to this point. Outside of Sean King and a very good one season, they have done dick shit for 30 years.
Thank you.
And they have turned in the last couple, 3-4 years with Summerall into a brand. We have done more than they have done in the last 30 years. We have beaten them at their own game in the last 30 years, but they found a way to make it marketable. We did nothing. And that is our biggest issue. It will continue to be our biggest issue. We still have bad self-esteem as a program with horrible leadership, and Tulane has kicked our ass at every step of all of those levels.
The one thing I'll say is
Tulane?
they make their money matter.
They make the money matter.
The money matter. And
they make their moment matter. They make the moment matter. We did shit with our moments. Jerry, you go, and then Ryan go.
I got to
Jerry
go on this
first.
one because you're talking to somebody who used to go to Tulane games when I was a kid sometimes. And when I tell y'all, the stadium, the dome would barely have 3,000 people in it. I mean, y'all want to talk empty? Empty. I got pictures I can send y'all. I took one time. In 2013, when we were putting 28,000 people in Cajun Field per game, they were putting in 2,800 per game. I'll send y'all the picture. And what they did was everything Josh said is true, but what they also did, growing up in New Orleans, Tulane was always second fiddle. They were kind of like what UNO is today. That was Tulane. Nobody would go to the games. Nobody would talk about them until they built that stadium where Tulane Stadium used to be. I'm gonna give you all a little idea of how they used to raise money.
Gee, what was Human? 56 million?
Maybe. If
brand new stadium.
Maybe.
Brand
where
new.
the old Tulane Stadium used to be. But what's funny about it was back in the day, the way Tulane would raise their money, because a lot of their alumni live across the country. They're not from Louisiana. They would actually call alumni to donate to their athletic department by buying season tickets. So a lot of times when you would look in the newspaper, even though 2,800 people were at the game, they would claim an attendance of 28,000 because so many people around the country would buy the season tickets as a quote unquote donation.
They did the same shit in the Dome.
Yeah, in the Dome. But the difference is when they built Yeoman Stadium and when they brought that sort of pageantry back to Uptown like they used to have at Tulane, the old Tulane Stadium that they tore down in 1980, they were able to capitalize on that, and they've used the New Orleans brand. They've used the New Orleans culture. They've used the Uptown community, which has a lot of money, and they've been able to generate a marketing agenda to push Tulane football and Tulane sports. Now you go to a Tulane game on campus, the atmosphere is unbelievable.
They're crushing it, dude.
It
They're
is
crushing
loud.
it.
And guess what? The people in downtown New Orleans have actually bought in. And they did it based on the fact that they started investing to bring that. We always talk about it at UL, a place to be seen. Josh, how do you get people in the Cajun Field? What do you tell them?
You tell them they can't come. I've been saying it for 10 years.
That's what Tulane's done. They've created this environment uptown New Orleans. That's their bubble. And they've made it nationwide, and they've brought the New Orleans culture with it, and they're winning. They won that Cotton Bowl, and it has been again, this whenever they had 3,000 people in the Superdome, that's the Tulane games I remember. Now they win the Cotton Bowl, sky's the limit for them.
But gee,
sky's
they won the
limit.
Cotton Bowl, and then they won 10 games, and then they won 11 games, and their coaches in every mouth of every hiring AD in the country. What do? We win a big game. We're ranked 16th and 15th in the country. We lose our coach, and then we totally torpedo the freaking program after Billy leaves. The difference is they took their momentum and they did something with it. We
Correct.
took our momentum and we took a nap.
Well, let me give you an example.
That's the difference.
Our Town, Our Team. Remember that big marketing
Oh,
push? The video
don't
looked
even
great.
don't
How
even
long did that Our Town, Our Team slogan last?
15 seconds.
Maybe, if we're lucky. Remember they said, we're going to push Our Town, Our Team. It's going to be all over social
There were
media.
people in the
all over
administration that
Lafayette.
were pissed about that, by the way.
It turned into culture with the UL culture.
Fuck.
That's what that turned into.
But you see, what Tulane's done is they've found a marketing niche, and they've run with it, and they've kept it consistent since the Cotton Bowl win. The Cotton Bowl win was 3 or 4 years ago, guys, and they're still running with it.
But look at the run they got.
Agree.
And the coach and the recruits, like they built off of that. Remember, I'm sorry to give me 20 seconds. I'm sorry to deflect. When Scott Farmer was here, who was it was a horrible AD, had no vision. In 2014, we won the Sun Belt in baseball, softball, basketball, football. What did we do in 2014? How did we parlay that success? We didn't. We didn't.
We did zero.
And that has happened so many times in this program's history. And if people are still watching, we have never capitalized on our success. Tulane has done a phenomenal job of taking their small successes, turning them into interest, and then when the iron was hot, they freaking hit it, dude. And it has paid big dividends, and then Summerall went there and leveled them up. And now every time a, medium P5 or P4 job comes up, who are they talking about? John Summerall.
Yeah.
And we experienced that with Billy for a little while, but we all knew, and I guess some of us, we had a little bit of the privilege to know the inside scoop. We knew he was just leveraging offers and he was going to stay here, but we would never move from that. We did nothing with that momentum. We did nothing with that build, that branding build, because we got. Oh, I don't know if we want to start talking about those guys, but we got incompetent boobs in leadership roles that don't know how to build a program. So whoever's watching, mark it at the what was it, the 220 mark? That was me. I said that.
Well, I think also as well, to Cole's point about trying to keep up with the LSUs of the world, Tulane, when you're when Tulane's able to succeed at that point, when Tulane's able to go win a Cotton Bowl, when they're able to have a 10-1 record or a 10-2 record, when they're ranked in the top 25, that's when actually, believe it or not, that's when you sneak up on an LSU. That's when you go sneak up on an Auburn. That's when you go sneak up on a Texas Tech. I mean, we said it last night, and I know there's big debates on whether or not they deserve to be ranked in the CFP. They still got they got two P4 wins. Now it's lower tier, but they've built a brand big enough to be able to beat a Northwestern by 20 points.
But they have a 5-year run, G. They have a 5-year run, and they have those two P4, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They have those wins. So it matters. Like, you can't tell me that they just from a normal guy standpoint, a normal sports observer standpoint. You can't sit back and tell me that doesn't weigh on your conscience. That it's a clear choice over JMU. JMU plays in a shitbag league. We should have beat them. If we had better coaches, we would have won the football game, and they would be totally eliminated from the conversation. So anyway, listen, before we go any further, I want to get Southern Charm Sports has chimed in to have a little piece. Southern Charm, if you want to get in, please do, sir. We appreciate you joining the show. Always love having an outside perspective.
Yeah, fellas, long-time listener, first-time joiner. I was listening to what y'all said about Tulane, and I think one of the biggest issues with ULL, obviously I'm an outsider. I live in Alabama. I cover mostly Troy, South, that kind of thing. But when you look at ULL, not only are they closer to Tulane than they are LSU, I feel like they're starting to get.
I'm gonna have to stop you. You got to help me out with ULL stuff. ULL stuff. Come on, help me out.
The University of Louisiana. I apologize.
I appreciate it.
Louisiana is getting closer to, and I'm not saying that they are at this level, but they're getting closer to La Tech and ULM than they are to Tulane.
Dude, you speaking
all
truth.
The reasons they all just said.
No, and we agree. We agree. We've been having this conversation. It's sad. The state of the program is gone down.
Yeah, and even when you look at how people view Sonny Cumbie, how people view Bryant Vincent versus how people view DeSormo. I know one of my guys, Lucas Hill, that covers Southeastern. He was super high on DeSormo going into this year, and then now it's if DeSormo had lost that game, it's what type of hot seat are we talking about going into next year, even if he makes it that far, right?
But based on what? Based on his results from last year? Was it based on the quarterback? How are we making these determinations? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I had high hopes based on the talent. I had everything that we evaluated was based on the talent, and I think these guys would agree with me. I don't necessarily think that what we thought our season would look like was based on the coaching staff. Maybe as an outsider, you can give me better perspective, but I'm just telling you, we thought we had the talent in-house. Even though it was young, we thought that we could compete at a high level.
Yeah, and I will say, I think some people have overlooked the quarterback help that y'all have lacked to have this year. Obviously, I think Lunch is doing a great job of coming in, but he's your fourth starting quarterback this year?
Third,
I know he wasn't
but
third.
He's got the X factor that the other two just don't have.
Yeah, legs. And I will say it's hilarious. So, I actually covered the Troy, Louisiana game, and I made several posts about Lunch, and I realized he must have been in the locker room looking up his name on Twitter and just liking posts. And then he did the same thing. I'd even said this morning that I just felt like y'all would win tonight. And then down 10-0, I go, Lunch Winfield, lock it. And I see after the game that he wouldn't like that. But yeah, I think on defense, y'all are fine, especially talent-wise. I think the biggest benefactor of y'all's offense last year going into this year was losing Terrence Carter to Texas Tech. That was the big one.
The number one PFF rated tight end in the country. Yeah, dude, of course. If you lose that kind of production, it's going to be tough. But yeah, you're right.
For sure.
You're right about that. And look, we're a big tight end podcast. So yeah, you're fishing in the same hole.
Yeah. And but yeah, and then everything else said about Tulane, I made a tweet about it being a great promo for everything John Summerall related. But it's like I don't think it's that hard to replicate. You just need, like, I know you said the boobs and whatever, right? But it's like if you have people in the office and in the football office and in the media department and the sports information department that are all kind of in on it, because it's like literally, and not to go too much in on Tulane, but Summerall has this thing about Florida, and then he plays it off on his tweets, and then his tweets later that night play it off, and then Tulane football plays it off. It's like you have to have so much trust and so much knowledge within your information department to perform something like that. And I feel with school,
let me ask you a question. How long have you been covering the teams?
2023.
2023. So a lot of this is an agent has a publicist and they start sending out tweets and then the tweets. So you know the whole game. So look, I'm going to tell you right now, I have a ton of respect for John Summerall. Every single time we've played him, and I'm not talking about his profile. I'm talking about the fact that he knows X's and O's and he knows the game. And some of these guys do know that, and they just don't have that persona. I don't think John Summerall has ever struggled with that. In fact, if you want to bring it back to local, I think Coach Dez actually has that issue where he doesn't necessarily have that persona. But I always thought John Summerall was going to be one of these guys that get one of these, we call them lower level P4 jobs, but I know Illinois has been reaching out, and we have friends. And I'm just going to tell you, when he came to Lafayette, we made friends with the wives. Shout out to the wives. Yeah. And we still have some friends that talk to the wives, so we know that Illinois has asked. And we know that Virginia Tech started snooping around before they went the James Franklin route. And there's a couple of others that I probably shouldn't say, but it's because the guy knows the game. He's a good football coach, and he has an aura. He has a thing about him that gets people engaged in his program. Just like I do, it's a lot more than just winning games. You got to have the buy-in. If you don't have the buy-in and you just win games, you got Billy Napier in 2020. Like, it's not the same thing. If you can't put asses in seats, we're not even having the same conversation. So I think that John Summerall is very good in the fact that he knows the game, guys play for him, and he can get asses in seats. And I think that plays really well for the P4.
And like the funniest thing is, so I started this account from my experiences with my friends in 2022. So I go to a school that doesn't have football, right? And with some of my friends, I'm like, hey, whenever Auburn's off, whenever Bama's off, let's go to Troy, let's go to South and all that. And then I really jumped in. Troy played Army. Talking fast so I can get through this, but Troy played Army, goes right down to the wire. They win. And then I'm like, okay, I got to pay attention to this. Then some of my Troy friends invited me back to the Sun Belt Championship game that year. They stormed the field against Coastal. Then I go to the Cure Bowl. They stormed the field at the Cure Bowl. And the Cure Bowl was funny because literally all of the security staff wanted them to rush the field. They thought it'd be cool. So they just made it like they didn't have cameras on it, but they literally made it pass. I thought it was hilarious. But then that January, I literally got one of my boys and just make an account, right? And then long story short, start covering college football. So and then the first school that I wanted to cover was Troy, and ironically, it was that 2023 Troy Louisiana game where they held the lead for seemingly forever. It was like the
Kamani Vidal game is what that was.
Yeah, for sure. And but seeing Vidal, and then I think Marshall would have been the year beforehand, but they just had a ton of dudes, and then eventually Javon Solomon and all these guys that are playing at Troy that could play at higher levels, and seeing him and Cole Hurd being able to keep those guys. And I think a bigger thing is that staff, dude. They have about 12 guys that have been there since 2022, right? Have been there for the whole time.
And that's not even talking about their Go staff. They got a ton of Go staff. You're 100% right about the staff, though.
But yeah, but I think in general, I don't think ULL is in there's a couple.
I thought we had an agreement here.
My fault.
Thank you.
Louisiana had it's not nuclear, right? There's some programs across the nation that I think are in a nuclear state. Almost FIU was so bad that they had to hit up Pitbull to maintain some level of relevance. And then now they're there, right? And Yeah, and it's like there's Pitbull and like there's a couple others. I think Kent State's kind of jumping to that level as well. But it's like I think that Louisiana's fine. I just think that y'all need a few people. And okay, there's no way I can say this without sounding incredibly cryptic. But like essentially, y'all need people to move on or people to retire before, because it's the old guard kind of thing, right? And Louisiana is an old South school, old money, that kind of thing. Most of the public schools in the Sun Belt are, and they don't want to try to put more money in right now. But if you get that new money in, or if it happens to be whoever's son or whoever's cousin or something, like just a younger person in general, the Jerry Jones effect, as I call it, they might be more apt to use that money or go up the extra mile. And I love what Louisiana did to their stadium. And I think that like they're in the right direction, especially when you consider like the cuts and budget cuts that ULM and La Tech are actually having to make. As long as they can tread water for a couple of years, I do think that they will be back on track. And I think what you've said previously about Ullman and everything is totally correct. And if they can just hop back on, and really, I think y'all need to ride the other sports before football with how difficult it is to maintain a proper football program, or at least a proper as in a top G5 football program. If y'all can ride, baseball, women's basketball, softball to good relevancy, it's not going to be the same as having, an 11-1 football team under Billy, but
Man, I apologize. I hit the wrong button. Listen, this guy is preaching. Like, this guy knows what the hell he's talking about. And this is a third party. Like, we didn't hire this guy. I didn't ask him to come on the show. He is telling y'all all the things that you need to hear. Like, we are behind the 8-ball. And until we figure out a couple of key positions, we will continue to be behind the 8-ball. But listen up. I got to tell this guy. Southern Charm Sports. Any moment you want to come to Lafayette and experience a game, if you want to get fed by the Best Stop, our best sponsor, if you want to come hang out with the guys, we're going to cover whatever you need. Do you need gas money to get down here? You want to cover the Cajuns? You hit me up. Hit us up on the Rage and Review account, or hit me up on my personal, whatever. We'll make sure you're taken care of. We want you to come down to experience a Cajuns game. Because, look, the thing that you see on the field is not Cajun culture or sports or whatever. That's kind of just like a side effect. What we do before the game starts is really what you want to be a part of. And Cole will help me out on that. But
no, I was just gonna ask, can he play wide receiver? Because I can't just have Doug. I need him too. Can he catch the ball?
I'm sick and freaking tired of this shit. Look, so your boy, so Cole got there later than I did. I had a couple of beverages, shout out to Bobby Abear and whatnot. But they put me out on the island. I had to put Doug in the blender, and then I couldn't see anything. There's no lights. It's dark. And then you got Doug, who hasn't caught a pass in 2.5 hours. He sticks his hand out a couple of times, and the ball just falls into his hand. I have gotten totally vilified on this. It's just absolutely outrageous how the media has portrayed me. It's just bad. But shout out to Southern Charm, man. You're doing a good job. I appreciate you calling in. We really appreciate your perspective, and I apologize for pressing the wrong button there. But when you're ready to come down to Lafayette, you have a place at our tent. We'll help you get some costs mitigated there, and we'll feed you. So thanks for calling in.
I definitely want to come down for baseball season, and I can definitely catch a football. So I'll let y'all know.
Well, look, dude, if you're a baseball fan at any moment, just come holler. Like, come on.
Well, the funny thing is like, I didn't want to cover, and I'll be quick with it since y'all are probably about to wrap up, but I didn't really want to cover college baseball until I realized, so I started doing like sports photography, right? Sure. And I actually have some Louisiana pictures I never sent, so I'll have to send y'all that. But at the Sun Belt Championship game, or the Sun Belt tournament, whatever, I live right outside Montgomery, right? And it's like, I just randomly went with my camera one day, and they just like let me in, and I was like, okay. And so I think it was last year, it was like Louisiana and Georgia Southern played, and then whoever Marshall played, I was out there for. But for a solid just like 3 hours, I was just like chilling, living off sweet tea and vibes. And
that's so awesome.
but then like just being able to, drive in, drive out. And I think I forgot who, I think it was like the third baseman or the shortstop's mom at Louisiana. I'm like, don't mean to pocket watch here, but like roughly how much money did y'all spend coming up here? And it is insanity how like the number that she gave me of how much it costs to go from Lafayette to Montgomery, Alabama for a week. So
those moms,
but yeah,
the moms will tell you. They will be honest. The dads will be like, "Oh, I got it." Moms are like, "It's $1,500.13."
Yeah, dude, it was because she had, I think it was like 13 something, and I was like, Jesus! But they had like a whole Airbnb and everything, and like I was like, oh my Lord! But they said it had been however many, like 4 years in a row or 3 years in a row or something like that, and I was like, Jesus!
Yeah, it's a ridiculous place to have it. By the way, what was your name, man? I didn't catch it.
My name's Jacob.
All right, Jake. Hey, we will be in touch. 100% promise you that. Maybe we can do some collab when the postseason comes around, but we appreciate you chiming in.
Yes, sir, brother. Hey, and if y'all make bowl season and end up going to Montgomery or going to Mobile, I will more than likely be there. So let me know. But peace out, fellas.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. By the way, I got a text message from one of our friends this past week. Old Brett Bergogno coming in for one of the Haney weddings. He's like, hey, Jag, what's up, man? I was like, what's up is I got 13,000 kids and 1 million jobs going on. What are you doing? He's like, well, I'm going to catch you after the wedding. Well, we did not hook up because it rained that night. And then he cussed me out the next day. It was hilarious.
Well, that sounds like a sad story.
I mean,
it's expecting like a happy ending to it. Like, oh,
let
things
him
were
finish,
great.
Jerry. Shit.
I didn't finish.
I'm sorry. Oh, my bad. I was getting like kind of depressed for a second.
Yeah, well, I can't really tell you the end of that story, but the point is that the culture is strong, man. They hit us up when they come back home. You know what I mean? So I'm going out to Santa Maria to go to a horse race when I go out there next summer. So, freaking Bergogno, dude. Freaking Bergogno.
Are you gonna wear like what is it? Those suits, the seersucker suits they wear to the?
That's just in Kentucky, dude. In real horse racing, you just show up and put your money.
You literally
on the
wear
freaking
this.
Table.
Yeah, you really wear this.
Have you never been to fucking Carencro before, or Opelousas, or wherever it is now? You show up in jeans and a plaid shirt, and you put your money down. They don't care what you wear. They just want your money.
I go for the food. Actually, they got good food over there.
What, Evangeline Downs? You can get those buffets and whatnot.
Dude.
You ain't winning no damn money at the buffet though, Jerry.
No, but I can spend money and eat good food at the buffet, though.
Spending money to lose money, mama.
They got some salutes and Opelousas, baby. Let's get it.
Paul, I can get you a good time in Opelousas for a cheap price. Anybody ready? No, I'm just messing around. Anyway, look, it's a midweek game. You can dissect it 50,000 ways, but to come away with a win on a midweek game, still a positive. It's a win. And we're moving on to ULM, who has 22 people on IR.
Yeah,
I feel like we put Jerry at special team, we get Cole at quarterback, and put me at wide receiver. We may score a couple of touchdowns.
If Jerry was kicking field goals for ULM with no shoes on, they would have a chance.
Lou Groza.
I've seen Jerry kick a 50-yarder last week with my own 2 sunglasses, and he booted that thing with no shoes on.
In the face of a full-blown block attempt.
That is true, guys. That is true. Good point. You know, it's crazy. We joke about it, but like the 3rd string or 4th string quarterback was the kicker, and he got hurt. Maybe they might need me out there. I don't know.
Boys, listen, I'm going to wrap it up, and y'all can close it out however you want. Bottom line, and I've seen enough of Acadian and Carencro to know this, it doesn't matter who's on the field. They hate each other. So ULM, whoever's on the field for them, is going to give it all they got. So if we don't show out and show up and show out, ULM's got a chance. And we are never comfortable enough with this team to ever feel like a win is in our pocket, right? And unfortunately, we would love to feel that way, but that's not how it is. We got to show up next week. You have a golden opportunity to punch your ticket to a bowl game. And when you have guys like Lunch Winfield and Brett Gordon and Zion Perry and Bill Davis, when you have playmakers like that in your back pocket, that plays into your favor because that is in tune with what the people that, bid on these bowl games need for their game, right? So if you can get to 6-6 and, the Cajun brand has enough respectability and enough of a fan base to get into a bowl game, whether it's in New Orleans, whether it's in Shreveport, whether it's in Mobile, and I have a feeling it might be in Mobile, and that'd be fine. It's right down the road.
I'd be fine. It's a fun city.
Yeah, that'd be
We've been
fine.
there a couple times.
Guess what? I can drink anywhere. If the beer is cold, I can drink anywhere, baby.
And the Airbnbs are cheap, baby.
I can drink anywhere. But the point is, if you can win next week, we'll be there. Just get it done. Please get it done. And if you want to see old KG, old Coach Dez 2.0 in his draws and his shrimp boots, running buck naked down. Listen, my old swinging thing's not going to be out because I owe it to my wife not to just have it bare like that. But there'll be some parts on old Cole that's going to be naked. I'm going to start at the red light, and I'm going to work on all the way back to the tailgate. And if you got your cameras, you can see something. But it's going to happen. I'm going to be in my nasty ass draws with a pair of shrimp boots if the Cajuns could get it done next Saturday.
It's going on the gram. G, wrap it up, man. I'll probably piggyback off you, but you're looking pretty buff. Maybe it's the shirt size or whatever the hell's going on there, but you've been working out.
I have been working out a little bit. Yeah, thank you. And the shirt is. I mean, you wash
I gotta compliment the guy for doing his work.
We wash it one too many times, it does kind of shrink. So you kind of get it's an optical illusion. But
in that case, get away from the goddamn
and he can
food
catch the
bar
ball
and
too,
go
folks.
work out.
He can catch the ball. He can kick it, and he can catch it, folks.
Kick, man.
Oh, Pat Dempsey kicking it with a bare foot.
If y'all want to play some football, come to the tailgate, please.
Please do. That'd be fun.
I need more wide receivers.
Y'all don't want none.
But guys, look, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we're on the post game. We're ranting, we're raving, we're talking about how the season's over, and here we are talking about a possible winning season. If we could take care of business next week, take care of business going into a possible bowl game if we win next week. I mean, it's a 180. It's a 180, and it's a lot more fun when it's a 180.
I got to tell you, there's a lot more positive than there is negative tonight. I feel good.
Yeah.
And listen, ULM is going to be a great finale. We're cooking. We're going to have a big group. If you've not come out to the Rage and Review tent, wide open, plenty of food, whatever you want. I'm going to probably add more drinks to the ice chest for the community. Come hang out with us. It's been a tough season, but it's been a fun season. If you feel like you can challenge us on the football field, by all means, bring your cleats and bring some courage because we get after it. Come get it. It's been a good show. Cajuns moved to 5-6, man. You beat Arkansas State. You beat one of the dirtiest teams in the Sun Belt, one of the ugliest teams in the Sun Belt. I absolutely hate Jonesboro. Mitch actually texted me, we're going to be on site in Jonesboro. I was like, dude, I would say that I'm jealous, but I hate Jonesboro, so knock yourself out. It's been good. Look, I can't wait to get the autopsy report from Caden and all the other guys. And Cajuns win, man. Cajuns freaking win. And that's all that matters. If you can't appreciate a Cajuns win, then we ain't got much to talk about. So for Nick, for Cole, for Jared, for the Best Stop, for Raging Hydration, for Lafayette Travel, for the Yard Goat, for every single other sponsor that supports us, and I would do a better job if I was more locked in. But
sign up for Cajun Threads, baby.
Oh, shout out for Cajun Threads. If you want a good conversation about Cajun sports, get on Cajun Threads via RagingReview.com. RagingReview.com, killing it. Get on Raging Threads. Have a good conversation with great Cajun fans, like-minded folks that just want to talk ball. We appreciate you all staying in for, what, almost 3 hours? Holy crap.
Longest show ever.
Cajuns win, Cajuns win, Cajuns win. And we got one more to get to have a good postseason. Boys, thanks for everything. Everybody, have a good night. We'll see you next week.